Yes, everyone, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the Irish Hotspur, here with Dave to bring you that fan show, everybody. The Friday morning fan show, Friday afternoon fan show, whatever time it is for you guys, everybody. Want to come on and have your say because it is, of course, West Ham's Cup final this weekend that we have to preview. And also, as well, bit of sad news for plenty of people. And also, of course, for Antonio Conte, for the squad. He's not going to be available, everybody. He's actually maybe rushed himself back, and this was kind of his I would believe his Instagram story to, kind of the Spurs fans. I sent him a very long and heartfelt message actually in response to him on Instagram, to the boss man, wishing him, a happy return. But he said, my great sense of responsibility towards the club, the players, the staff, and the fans brought me to anticipate my comeback on the field. Sadly, I underestimated the procedure, which wasn't a routine operation, but a sudden and serious emergency. My body has suffered my impatience. My body has suffered from my impatience, and now I am forced to stop until my entire recovery. Who knows me understands what a burden this is for me, but it is necessary. Come on, you Spurs, says Antonio Conte. Dave, the boss man's out again. Kind of like I noticed and like maybe some of us picked up on, he looked very pale, felt like he did kind of rush himself back, probably because he's that sort of dedicated to football, just that dedicated to whatever job he has at hand. But maybe he did really rush him back too soon. So what are your thoughts on that?
Look, of course he rushed back, Jack. Anyone that's, got the surgery that he's got, it's usually, 4 to 8 weeks sort of recovery. The guy was back in the dugout within, a week. I think the message that he sends out there probably, I think, answers if he's committed to the job at least until the end of the season. I think he is. I think he likes being at Tottenham. But saying that, it doesn't look good. Like there's 16 weeks left of the season. How many of them is he going to miss? It's come at a very unfortunate time for Tottenham, I would say. He's got 2 London derbies coming up. Second leg of the Champions League last 16. So it's not exactly ideal. But at the end of the day, Jack, it's life. These things don't come up when you want them to or when you have time for them to. They come up when you least expect them. But look, all I could do is wish Antonio a full recovery, speedy recovery, and get back to us soon, my man.
Should have took a screenshot as well of, the private message I sent to Antonio, but maybe that's just between me and the boss man, just some kind of words of encouragement. I just also, Dave, I told him, rest with the family, make sure that, the missus, maybe any grandpas around the house as well, feeding you well, get back to full health, get some color back in you, Antonio. But just send him a long, heartfelt message, a few kissy faces as well, to get it back into it. But Dave, I feel like a lot of the topics I kind of have at hand today are mostly kind of what we might be also asking for this pre-match build-up, for the West Ham game. So anybody that's going to be coming on and have their say, maybe they're going to be getting that early, kind of take that early sort of snippet at some of the things we're kind of going to be asking on the pre-match build-up. So maybe before we get to the chat, Dave, I thought maybe we sort of give a bit of a preview here on what maybe we have to discuss today, kind of some of the sort of the topics at hand. And the first one I have here, and I know this one, is something that you want to discuss, is who should start at right wing back versus West Ham. Should it be Emerson? Should it be Pedro Porro? Emerson going into this, looking solid, fine form at the moment, maybe looking better than some of the players who have probably fallen off the boil or maybe a little bit at the time. He's kind of, I wouldn't say performing out of his skin. I think he's put in these performances in the past, but he's maybe at a better level than others are right now who have maybe fallen off a little bit. Whereas Pedro Porro, bit of an underwhelming, of course, debut. I think a lot of that, though, has to do with maybe the players that were played around him, as well as maybe just not the right game for him, maybe not the right moment for him to start too. It's tough, Dave, because also West Ham, right, a very deep defensive team. Maybe you want more creativity from out wide, so Pedro Porro would be your man. He is Pedro Porro, the postman, after all. He needs to start delivering those crosses to Harry Kane. So what do you think, Dave?
Look, for me, there's 2 arguments on this, right? You look at the creativity up the other end. It hasn't been working out the last couple of games for Kulu, Kane, Son. So there's an argument that with it not working, you need more creativity from the wing-backs going forward to help us maybe unlock the door and maybe have a different plan rather than keep going through Kane, Son and Kulu, get the ball out wide, get it into the box. Because the reason why I say this is Jack sort of alluded to it in the video yesterday he put out about, whether Son should be dropped or not. my feeling on it is that teams have sort of found us out last season. If you go back and look at the games, especially the back end of last season, and look at the bit, look how much space at times Harry Kane had when he was picking up the ball, getting spun on it, and playing Son in behind. This season, they're double teaming Kane, so they're taking. Last season they had the attitude, oh well, Kane's further away from the goal, leave him there. Then all of a sudden, the whole world knew about Harry Kane's passing range, which came to fruition. So this season, they're realizing you cannot let Kane drop deep. If he drops deep, you also have to go with him. And at most times, Jack, he's sitting there with two people on him, so which means he can't get turned. He doesn't have the space to get turned like he did last year, which then means in order for Son to be able to get into the game, he has to drop deep and get on the ball. But he's doing that with his back to goal. That's not Son's game. Son is lethal and Son's good and at his best when he's on the ball facing the goal or when he's put in behind. And we haven't been able to do that for him this season. Kulu's also come out of form. So now we're in a position where, okay, what do you do? Well, the only other option is getting the wing-backs down either side and getting balls into the box. Now, Perisic, look, I know he's got 8 assists, but I find a lot of his crossing underwhelming this year. Emerson, who I think has been brilliant the last couple of games, lacks in the final third. So you'd say there's an argument for Porro. But on the other hand, Jacko, we've got huge problems defensively, and it's really, really fragile at the minute. Even though they weren't tested much the other night, and I still maintain what I said, the fact that we dominated the game and we still ended up conceding and losing the game, this is something I've been highlighting for some time, that this is always going to happen. And anytime they went forward, Milan, the other night, they looked like scoring. So you probably do need that defensive stability there as well, because at the end of the day, you've got to keep goals out. But where I'm at on it, I would go with Emerson. I would go with Emerson for this one and maybe look to bring Porro off the bench in the second half if it's not working. Because the last thing you want to do in a London derby, Jack, is go 1 or 2-0 down. So for me, I would look to protect that back line first and then, if needs must, get Porro on the pitch.
Yeah, I like that, Dave. I like a lot of that. Another big question here is Papa Matasar paving his way for the future into that Spurs team, maybe with the opportunity he has been given with Bentancur's injury, not really the best of circumstances for the squad. But when you're kind of a young player like Papa Matasar, let's be honest, this is kind of what it's not really what you hope for, but it is kind of the best sort of scenario for you to get a big run of games without maybe there being a ton of pressure on you or anything like that. And it's just maybe his time to shine and see if he can actually show whether he really is, that sort of talent that can actually maybe get into this squad, let's say next season, and be kind of a player that we can call upon in big moments and maybe be, sort of a less than, more than kind of a talent for the future, maybe actually be a talent for the now, a talent for kind of like a Kulusevski type player, where of course he still has a lot of developing and growing to do, but he's good enough to play, right now and good enough in the team. So this is an opportunity for Papa Matasar to, I think, earn exactly what I was just saying. Maybe this is his moment, and I sort of maybe back him maybe more so than probably Skippy to do it. I feel like Skippy maybe put some, I'm not sure if he put some haters, kind of wrong. Dave, what are your thoughts on maybe Skippy's performance? Because I kind of feel like he was really poor when he kind of came back from his injury. Like there is nothing going around that. But I also agree with the argument that this guy was sensational before his injury. And maybe after a while, after, maybe who knows how long it takes, he can start to kind of rekindle and kind of refine that form of himself before he had that big injury. So I don't know. Did he silence some haters, Skippy? Or is that too soon?
No, look, I still think the jury's out on Skip. And look, rightly so, to be honest with you, Jack. Look, I don't think he was amazing when he came in last season. I really don't. I think, it was overrated. I think the reason why people kind of got by him was because he was just better than what Harry Winks was offering. Harry Winks was, out of form, out of confidence, couldn't complete 5-yard passes. Anytime he got the ball, he slowed down the play. Anytime he did get on the ball and try and go forward, he was taken off the ball. And the midfield wasn't working. Him and Højbjerg didn't complement each other. If Højbjerg went to press and go after the ball, Harry Winks was 50 yards behind him. It just didn't work. So bringing in someone like Skip, who was a bit more industrious than Harry Winks, it helped the kid. But since then, we've brought in Bentancur, Bissouma. He's had injuries. He finds himself further down the pecking order. And look, I think him and Højbjerg could do a job together, but I think they're too similar. And look, Skip has had a lot of opportunities yesterday. And don't get me wrong, I actually think the kid had a good game the other night. Like I said, I think, the players I was expecting to turn up for Tottenham didn't. And the players that I was thinking maybe they could be in for a tough night, they turned up. And I do think Skip had a good game, but I still think he's still a bit nervous on the ball. He doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence on the ball sometimes. Some of his passes were overhit, underhit. And I just think for me, it's got to be Papa Matasar beside Højbjerg. I think you've got to look at the guy who offers similar to what Bentancur does. And for me, that's definitely Papa Matasar. I think he came out with I think he had a much better performance than Skip. Don't get me wrong, Skip committed performance, and that's just sometimes on the ball. I think he's still a bit erratic.
Yeah. And you do get that sort of real technical quality. You can see maybe more. And I think Papa Matasar's game
Yeah,
sometimes. Another big question here, and I maybe might answer this because I've
yeah,
grown frustrated with it, is Perisic maybe doing enough going forward to earn his spot in the team? I know Sessegnon, right, is injured and he's going to probably continue to get it. But I think there is maybe worth conversation if you want to have it with me about maybe Perisic kind of maybe not making up. We used to always say, oh, well, even if he is a defensive liability, he makes up for it with what he does going forward. He's a huge set piece threat for us and everything. And it's like, I feel like with his recent performances, I feel like that argument is becoming less
yeah.
so kind of, relevant or less so valid, maybe is the right word, because he's just not making up for his defensive liabilities with his, productivity going
Mhm.
forward. In fact, he has been a bit underwhelming recently going forward. And I do think he could actually have had maybe more goals this season. He's had
Yeah.
good opportunities to score as well. So it's just maybe something if you want to have a conversation with me or Dave, if you really want to maybe have a deeper conversation about the likes of Perisic. And I'm not saying like it is realistic to drop him because there isn't exactly a lot of players that, are right there to take his spot. But let's not say that, if there maybe was someone like an Udogi or someone right there, I'd say that person would take a spot immediately. And that's maybe just speaks to Perisic being slightly underwhelming. And he's coming up against Jared Bowen, who's a good winger for the likes of West Ham. Another question here, Dave, is of course the one that we put in the video. What do you think Sonny is doing wrong that is contributing to his scoring
Yeah, God.
troubles? Has Conte changed something? You saw my video. Dave has also had some big thoughts on it. So, of course, people will have their say on that, I imagine. And then Danjuma, of course, being very hungry to take his chance. And Richarlison is back from injury. Should Conte drop Sonny for West Ham? Kind of follows into that question, I believe, as well. And then last, but maybe not least, Kulusevski, only 1 goal and 1 assist since the World Cup. Does he need to be maybe dropped for this match as well? Does he need a warning? Does he need maybe a kick up, the rear a little bit just to kind of get him back, focused, get him back kind of, competitive again? Because he's also been slightly underwhelming, I think, kind of recent. I think his assist came against Preston and then his goal came against Man City in that 4-2 defeat. So he has also maybe kind of fallen off the boil a little bit, let's say. But everybody, I'm going to get to the comments here, and I have been moving a bit slowly, so we will also as well get to plenty of people in the fan show chat because there's a big queue at the moment, everybody, which is just lovely to see on this Friday, and we will get through to all of you. Plenty of questions to get through. We have Loves Music in the house saying, let's get behind the team and destroy their cup final. It is the Bubble Blower Cup final, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bubble enthusiast weekend. They'll probably hold a little, like Comic-Con, something like that for bubbles. Absolutely ridiculous. But look, let's end our cup final. What I will say, though, is it's going to be tricky. They conceded less goals than us, but they have trouble scoring goals. But we concede goals, and we're having trouble scoring goals. So it's not going to be easy. But look, I have faith at the end of the day. It's the Irish Hotspur Derby. There's probably going to be a few of them running around looking for me, but guess what? You can't find me. Mick Carmelock says, good afternoon, Jack and Dave. I will be in and out. Big up, Mick. I hope you're keeping well, sir. Good to see you in the building. Dark Zone G says, I'm not worried with Stellini taking over, to be honest. The only thing I'm worried about is if some will be used as a Mazzela. I don't know how to spell this role. Look, I think you've made a pretty good attempt, to be honest with you. Better than what I would, Dark Zone G. Look, I do want to say one thing on this Stellini thing, and it's bugging me. Only at Tottenham Hotspur do we call for the assistant to be in charge over the actual manager. The guy has come in for what, 1 or 2 games. He's won, I think he's won both of them. But at the end of the day, people are going on like Stellini had full reign to do what he wanted. He didn't. Conte still picked the teams. He still used Conte's formation and tactics. The only thing he had control over is maybe some of the in-game tactics. That's the only thing.
Mm.
But, we've got to realize, people that are calling for Stellini for this job, Stellini had a job in management, by the way, if anybody's ever bothered to go and do the research. And he failed. Conte picked Stellini up in 2019 and brought him in as assistant manager. And yeah, he's had a couple of games at Inter as well in Conte's absence and won them as well. But, why do we sit here? We demand trophies. We call for trophies. We call for the board to hire trophy-winning managers. We get that. And now we want his assistant who doesn't know how to win trophies. It's absolutely bugging me. It's absolute nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. I just don't understand it. I really don't.
Yeah, I just sort of maybe as well kind of the argument that maybe they're playing more for Stellini than they are for Conte also seems kind of a bit far-fetched in the sense that Stellini is more like an extension of Antonio Conte. Like even if they sort of picked up on that, I just don't know if like what Stellini would make of that. It's not like Stellini then would all of a sudden, commit mutiny or something like against like Antonio. Like I just don't really see that even working out for the players if they somehow only want to play for Stellini. I find that to be hard to believe because Stellini is very much a good friend of Conte's and has been there and is probably almost just, like I said, just an extension of Conte's brain, an extension of Conte's training, an extension of Conte's methods, really.
But look, Jack, at the end of the day, I mean, we're going down a very, very slippery road here, Everything I see about Conte now was the same about Jose 2-3 years ago. So we're sort of, in effect, in the same position. There's been no progress. The fact that we want to go through some of these trophy-winning managers and sack them and start looking to bring in his assistant, I think is absolute madness. And, it's like, how do I put it? It's like at some stage, regardless of the manager, we have to sit there and we need stability. You can't keep going through this hiring and firing of managers. And if you look over the years, you had, 5 years under Poch, 16 months under Jose, even less under Nuno. Now Conte, they want again after 16 months. Then we sit here, we wonder why the squad, resembles 4 or 5 different regimes. We wonder why we can't win every week. Why are we up 1 week, down the next week? And it's because of all these problems. Hiring and firing, recruiting under different managers, which then brings in different philosophies, different ideas, different player mentalities. We need one idea, one philosophy, and we need to go fully after it in order to get some stability at this club. Because I don't know about everybody else out there, but I, for one, am sick of being up here one game and down here the next game. It's an emotional roller coaster, and it shouldn't be such highs and lows. And in order to stop that, we need stability in the dugout. I'm not going to say to people you're wrong if you want Conte out. I would say be careful what you wish for. I heard under Jose, get rid of him. People who play a better style. But we got in Nuno. Them same people then who promised me a better style after Jose was gone, then wanted Nuno sacked. Then I was promised, I'd see a better style, get rid of Nuno, someone else can do better with these guys. Well, then we bring in Antonio Conte. I'd argue that it's got better under Antonio Conte than what it was under Nuno. But now we're here again. Get rid of Conte. We get someone else in to be able to do better, this, that, and the other. When are we going to accept reality? We've got some problems that need to be addressed that are holding us back. Until you address them, no manager is going to have a chance, and the style's not going to get any better.
There's also just order of operations. There's just an order of priorities, I think, as well. And for me, I just don't think getting rid of Conte is the priority for me. Chris is in the house. Good to see you, Chris. Hopefully you're keeping well, everybody. Do appreciate your support in the very windy Newcastle. In my opinion, Son does deserve to be dropped for his performance, have been way too off par. He's not exempt from criticism as much as the Sun lovers. They to pick yourself up, Chris. Full Bowls in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Get your Beyonce and Eric Dyer tickets now. Eric Dyer can be seen on full display. Foggy Foam, good to see you as well. Good to see you, Foggy Foam. Appreciate your support. Tequila 316, good to see you, my friend, as well. To Bottom Duda's in the house too, Dave. Good to see you, Bottom Duda. And then we also have Steven in the house. Good to see you, Steven. Phil's in here too. Good to see you, Phil. He says, happy Friday, Spurs fans. Let's smash the hammers on Sunday. It's their cup final. Phil, get ready. DG's in the house. Says, hey, yo, big yourself up, DG. Level Earth is in here. Good to see you, Level Earth. Hopefully you're keeping well, my friend. Kara Coys is in here too. Good to see you, Kara Coys. Graham, hopefully you're keeping well, Graham, and would love to see you when Dave and I are up in London, my friend. Good to see you, Graham. Talking Ball is in here. Good to see you, Talking Ball.
Kara Coys. Just
Big up,
quickly,
Ty.
DG, he has been around for a hell of a long time, my man. I'm surprised you're not sick of me yet, brother. To be honest with you, I'm surprised you're not sick of me yet, but big up, DG. Love that, my man. Really appreciate it.
And then Jason Bell's in the house. Big up, Jack. Dave, I'm gonna give the guests the order here. So how about you take
Yeah.
over the comments?
Big up, Paddy Harnett. Good to see you in the building, sir. I hope you are keeping well.
Big up, Paddy.
We need a phone call this weekend, Paddy. Big up, Drew. Drew Zilla says, big up, lads. Jack and Dave, the duo, more goals and assists than Kane and Son. Come on, you Spurs. Let's go, everyone. I wish I did, to be honest with you. I wish I was Harry Kane. Big up, Reds. Look, we put the link up in the community section for members. It's what, $4.99 a month. You get about 15 fan shows, 20 fan shows a month. But look, at the same time, I fully understand it is a big bad world out there. It is tough for everybody at the minute. I understand, some people, maybe most people actually are probably not in a position to be able to do it. So look, get in contact, my man. The email address is down below, and I can send you a link, brother. Big yourself up. Dan Coyce, good to see you in the house. I hope you're keeping well, my man. Good to see you. We've also got Moondog. Good afternoon, lads. I'm laid up with the flu. Come on, you Spurs.
Ooh.
You just never get a break, Moondog. Never, ever, ever get a break, buddy.
Sorry.
By the way, actually, I still never got that package. Is there a tracking number or anything that I need maybe to see where it's at? I'm not sure whether it's on my end.
Sometimes, Moondog, you need, I would say, Moondog, have a call with Dave and figure it out with him. Sometimes Dave has to go over and literally tackle the postman himself, to get the package off of him. It's just, I think it's just somehow it works that way. Just where
I live, it's awkward.
Just, the apartment complexes can be weird sometimes with how it works, Moondog. So I would say, have a phone call with Dave. Dave will, track him down, and, he won't miss the tackle like a Moonhead would. He'll bring him down. Don't you worry.
Big up, Moondog. Honestly, though, hopefully you're okay, my man. Get a few lem sips into you. It might help you out a little, brother. We've got Calavius. Good morning, sir. I hope you're keeping well. We've also got Billy Warburton, definitely Porro. Interesting, my man. Look, I'm not opposed to Porro starting. I'll be honest. It's like if you start one, you're going to have problems in the other area. And if you start the other, you're still going to have problems in that other area. It's a lose-lose at this point, really. Rob Belcher says it's Friday. It's 3 o'clock. It's Dave and Jack. Big up, Rob. Good to see you in the building, sir. Moondog says, I never thought I would say this, but Emerson to start. A lot of people are starting to say this lately, Jacko. Do you think it's because definitely down to maybe Porro's debut?
I feel like the Emerson thing has aged, Dave, like not even like a fine wine. It's almost aged to like, a bourbon or something, where it starts as like a clear, bad liquor, almost kind of like a moonshine or something. And then it's like aged into, a nice, kind of smoky sort of kind of spirit, and people are starting to warm up, to the Emerson, Dave. So it's nice to see if he just keeps up these sort of kind of 7 out of 10 or maybe even above, performances. I think a lot of people might sort of eat their words on it. And at the end of the day, he's only been here like a year and a half. Like, it's not like the guy's, stuck around for multiple years and, tried to get it fixed like, Doherty did or Aurier did or players like that. Like, he's only been here really a year and a half at the end of the day. And he's had good performances in that year and a half. Even when he had his dreadful ones, he still had good ones, I think, kind of mixed in there that people kind of chose to ignore. So I don't know, Moondog. It's good to be, on the Emerson train. It's good to be kind of the conductor of it. And I'm a nice guy, Dave. So unlike maybe others, so I'm going to maybe let some people on it. It's still going to make some stops and around and let some people on the Emerson love train.
Love it. They forced their way on anyway. It was the same with my Harry Kane train, Jack. People forced their way on. But big up, Moondog. Coy says, let's go and smash the hammers, and I'm going to the game. Big up, guys. Absolutely love that. Hopefully you enjoy it. Me and Jack were supposed to be going to this one. But we said, look, Champions League, night under lights, never been to a Champions League game or European game, in fact. So we said, look, the Irish Hotspur derby will have to wait this time round so that we can get there for the AC Milan game. But go and enjoy it, my man. Big yourself up.
Pick up the lies.
We've got James Gunny. You guys are talking about dropping Son or not? Yeah, that we are. I mean, it's a conversation that has to be had for me. Look, I never want to get to this point. I've been one of Son's biggest backers this year. I'm a firm believer, form is temporary, class is permanent. But, when Kane and Son aren't contributing, or when Kane and Kulu aren't contributing either, really, we need freshening up in that area. And Son has been, These bad form has been going on a lot worse. So, you need someone else to step up. You can't keep asking Kane and Skulu to do it all season long, my man. Big up, Foggy Phone. Good to see you in the house. As we got Ian Ferguson. Great to see you, my man. Everyone, be scared. We're getting some of these hammers thrown in at us here. So everybody, beware. They are so scared. Who else
Put on the goggles as well for the bubbles. You don't want to get soap in your eyes too, Dave.
Mirrors in the house. Big up, my man. John Ellisall, good to see you in the building. He says Skip is a good player. We've got Elias Ianu Kulu, not much better lately. Yeah, to be fair, there is that argument. Dark Zone G says this is why at least loaning out those three helps players like Skip and Sarr, because if those three were still here, we wouldn't see Sarr and Skip develop.
This is why at least loaning out three players like Skip and Sarr, because if those three were still here, we won't see Sarr and Skip develop. It's a good point. I think it's more just the case they've come in, though, is more due to maybe injury at the end of the day. Dark Sun G. Basuma, has fallen victim to injury, and then also Bentancur has picked up a big injury. So I think that's kind of why they've been thrown in here. But to be honest, I think their own, sort of loan spells away from the club have actually probably benefited themselves. They haven't stuck around maybe like Tanganga did, kind of like Winks did, kind of like other sort of, academy players that kind of sort of ended up losing that sort of developmental, part of their, sort of young careers where they can, learn on parts of their game, maybe flush some things out. And Skip was able to do that with his loan spells. And I think the likes of Papa Matsasar was, of course, able to do that by maybe staying, back at that French club Metz and going through like a relegation campaign in the French league. Let's be honest, doesn't sound very fun. So these kids, definitely have been able to benefit from the loan spells, but I think they're also just benefiting from the injuries right now. But they're taking advantage of it. Can't blame them.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, if there's no pathway to them into the first team, get them out on loan and get them some experience. Let them find some problem solving during games. There's only so much coaching can tell you. Sometimes you've got to get into these games. Make mistakes and problem solve and learn to get better, my man. But look, Skip. The time will tell between now and the end of the season. I fear he might need another loan. And look, it's because of the long injury layoff he's had. It's an absolute killer. And it's an absolute killer for him with the timing of it, when it happened, when he found himself in and around the team, it was a killer. Sarr, no, I think there's definitely a player there. Definitely a player there for sure. Dark Sun G, my man. Big yourself up, brother. I hope you are keeping well, though. What's the weather like over in Korea, my man? Do let us know. Derek Smith, good to see you in the house. I think all of these fringe players need to be rotated in much more often. They need to be fresh and raring to go and not sitting on the bench getting rusty. Look, the reason why a lot of these players are sitting on the bench getting rusty is because some of them just aren't good enough. We act like these guys haven't had a chance before, especially some of them defenders and that they have. Even Richarlison. Richarlison has had opportunities. He hasn't took them. We have I get we're calling for rotation, but then, what happens when we do rotate? Well, we've seen the effects of that this season and seasons gone by. So it's all well and good calling for it. And in an ideal world, Derek, we do want to see it. But unfortunately, we know what happens. There's a drop-off in quality, drop-off in performances, drop-off in results. We've been absolutely plagued by injuries this season. The guys that stepped in haven't been good enough. And that's why, if I was a manager, I'd be very reluctant to rotate them as well.
In the same breath, I think our depth right now is in our attack, and it is where maybe our rotation is probably strongest, and the drop-off in quality is still, there is a drop-off in quality, but it's probably not as severe or not as, maybe poor for us, if you were to go from Danjuma to Son, or go from Kane to Richie, or go from Kulusevski to Danjuma, or whatever it is. Like, it is where maybe if you were to rotate, it is where our depth is strongest, probably.
Yeah, fair point. Big up, Derek, my man. I hope you're keeping well. We're going to take a few more comments, and then we're going to crack on and start getting the guests on to have their say. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody here whatsoever. Give me 1 second. Big up, CCH. Good to see you. Variable West Ham United, mate. You should be confident regardless. We only got 2 kids in Højbjerg left in the midfield. Kelly J TV says, remember Jacques Santini and Martin Yole? Yeah, look, I know Martin Yeo was his assistant at the time. Jacques Santini couldn't speak English. He didn't have a rapport with the players. Joel came in, had his ideas. And yeah, look, his football was entertaining. But that was a once off. We can't pretend this is gonna happen all the time, every time. Look, I just don't get it with the assistant. We're calling for the assistant manager, Many people were calling for Antonio Conte to be hired, said it would show ambition, this, that, and the other. And now we're looking for his assistant manager. I just don't understand it.
Hmm.
Big up, Genie D. Good to see you in the building. Drop Perisic. He's a liability on the fence. The only thing is, though, my man, Ben Davies, the reason why he's left side of centre back is because he's a fair left back. He's not going to be any better. And Seth Young's out injured. Perisic is all we got at the minute, brother. Simon Cohen, hi lads, just about over the Leicester defeat. I wouldn't do, to be honest with you, man. Not with the money that was paid for them tickets and what you experienced. But big up, Simon. I hope you're keeping well, my man. Big up, Leighton Evelyn. Good to see you. He's only in here when we're losing, Leighton. He's never in here when we're winning, ever. Never see you in here when we win, Leighton. I'm always calling for you when we're winning. I'm like, where's Leighton? And he's nowhere to be seen. Bjorn Wandal says, good afternoon. Good to see you. Keith Edwards, who else have we got? Who else would have got us top four? Only Conte. I really want to see 3-5-2. We play a lot better that way. Exactly. No one else would have got us top four last season, my man. I think Conte is probably a victim of overachieving last season, if you want me to be brutally honest. But good to see you in the building. David Clark, good to see you. I hope you're keeping well. Bjorn, let me know where you're from, brother. Let me know where you're from. Big Boss Man. Whoa, good to see you in.
Good man.
Hope you're keeping well. TG says the Irish Hotspur. My wife is. Absolutely love that, brother. Good to see you. We've got Shoriam Uchil says, imagine Poch comes back and says sees upgraded attack on midfield, then sees Dyer and Sanchez at the back. Keep forgetting, a lot of these guys Poch didn't use. Danielle Zito says, come on, Spurs, let's hope Richarlison and Danjuma start, because I do. Yeah, look, I'm all for a couple of changes. It's been very, very stale.
Big up, Daniela.
Hope you're keeping well. We've also got Mary W. Good afternoon. Good to see you in the building. Hope you are keeping well. Bob Spur, good to see you as well. Big up, you beautiful, average-looking folks. Some saying Conte being ill is a blessing in disguise kind of sums up some of today's fan base. Good health, Conte. Well, get well soon, sir. It's not a blessing in disguise. In fact, all it does is just create more headaches, more speculation, it causes more problems. It's definitely not a blessing in disguise anyway, Bob. That's one thing I can tell you. Yeah. I just, honestly, I don't get it. I do not get it. We'll be in the same situation in another 15 to 16 months' time anyway. Daxon G says, once Son stops playing as a Mazele, he will return. Jack, what would you say, Daxon G here?
I think what's maybe come to a point here, Dark Sun G, is that perhaps Sonny maybe used to have, some of the capabilities that Antonio Conte is asking him, to drop a bit deeper, kind of, take the burden off of Harry Kane to help out with the creative play. And let's be honest, let's just a quick little side point, what maybe Conte is now asking Sonny to do this season on the wing is not really that crazy of a thing to ask of a winger. Most wingers are usually responsible for being very responsible on the ball, carrying you up the pitch, making the right decisions to progress you up, and just being those kind of focal points that you can hit the ball into, and they can be able to help, kind of get you up and be able to also link up with others, take the burden off the striker in the hold up play and everything. There's so many good players you can name that have done that, for years and to make a career off of that. Even Jack Grealish, as much as people don't like the guy with Aston Villa, that's exactly what they did to him. They just gave him the ball from whatever position he was in. He just helped them get up the pitch and from there. And I think Sonny maybe in the past, 26, 27 years old, was able to do that. But he also has always just thrived with actually just receiving the ball facing goal instead of receiving the ball, with his back to goal. And perhaps maybe a weakness has sort of kind of been, exposed in his game. And we need to sort of either maybe help him sort of kind of maybe bring something else, to help him make it a bit easier on him, maybe get him a better wing back to sort of take the burden off of him, or just go for some sort of different type of maybe passing pattern. So maybe Sonny doesn't have to drop his deep, but I think it's just been like a little weakness has maybe been exposed in his game. But at the end of the day, Sonny is also a very good player, and I'm sure he can learn, and I'm sure he can pick it up. And I'm also sure that eventually, he will get back to his old self. If also that means, just going back to, just running in behind and staying really high up the pitch, if that's what needs to happen.
Look, I think Sonny will probably learn from this period more than any other period in his career, if you want me to be brutally honest with you, from being on such a high last season compared to where he's at this season. And look, no one's sitting here saying drop Son permanently. I don't want to see that either.
No one's saying
I just think right now, where we've got problems defensively and problems going forward, losing the ball on the halfway line like he was doing a lot, recently, it's causing us problems. And we've got to find a solution on how to get Son on the ball, further up the pitch, facing goals. How we do that right now, I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure. What you do need is maybe someone with a passing range from the back line, from that midfield, but I'm not sure we have that right now, Dark Sun G. Could you put him out at left wing back maybe for a little while, see if you can get him going forward on the ball that way? That could be maybe a solution. But then again, defensively, you're going to have the same problems as Perisic. Look, I just hope Son picks out his form, because even when he has received the ball going towards goals at times this season, he's falling over it. The end pass hasn't been quite there. I'm not sure what to do right now, to be honest with you, Dark Zone G. Look, you're a man of solutions. You're a student of the game. Have you any tactical insight or anything like that where you think maybe we can start getting Son on the ball, facing the goals, or how we go about it right now, my man? Let me know in the chat, brother. Big yourself up. Big up, Terry Wright. Good to see you in the building. Stellini going to lead us to a result this weekend, and Juma and Richie to start. Look, I hope we get a win this weekend. I just want to keep winning. I hate losing. John Fitzpatrick, big up to Ireland's #1 Spurs fan. Hope you're keeping well down in Oz. Hopefully you and the young family are enjoying yourselves, brother. Big yourselves up. Also, if you've been watching the rugby, let me know. It's been good for us, Ireland fans, the Six Nations. Big up, Kenty. Hope you're keeping well as well. We've got Phil P, the Park Lane Ninja. Oh, my man. Says, happy Friday, you filthy animals. Big up, Jack and Dave and all the chat. Come on, you Spurs. And, of course, up tip. Whoa! Big up, my man. Absolutely up tip. My granddad is from there. Absolute great man he was. Great man.
Good man, Phil.
Love Tip. I've got a good affiliation with Tip. I've got a soft spot. All things Spurs. Good to see you in the house as well. Daniel Field, Tenor Pool as well, Joe Cole, and we've also got Sar Ace as well. So big yourselves up. I don't think I've missed anybody. I think we've welcomed in everybody and said hello to everybody, which is good and also part of the deal, what we try and do. Bjorn is from Stockholm, Sweden.
Good
Always
man.
wanted to go to Sweden, my man. I've never, ever been, but I've been dying to go, dying to get there. So big up, Bjorn. Hopefully one day I might be able to see you over there, brother. Everybody in the chat, let us know exactly where you're watching from. Maybe let us know what your plans are as well with your day off tomorrow. No Spurs game until Sunday. But look, Jack, I think we'll crack on.
Yep.
We'll start getting on the guests.
But also as well, Dave, let me just make sure quickly. 53 or 170 in the house, everybody, but only 53 likes. So please, everybody, major introduction that Dave did. Honestly, he's like the most welcoming man in the house. He's just welcoming everybody to his house. Grab them all a plate, grab them all a drink, and everybody. So please just do him a favor and smash that like button, please. Only 50 have smashed the like button so far, so please do. But let's get on the first guest of the evening. She's been waiting very, very patiently, and it is Mia.
Let's get her on. Where is she? She's hiding back here. Big up, Mia.
Hello. I haven't spoken to you in ages, Dave.
Yeah, stop. It's been a long time. Everybody, I was on Mia's channel actually yesterday, so do get over and check that out after this show. But look, Mia, I mean, where do we kick this off? What do you want to talk about? Jack came up with a load of talking points for today. So where do you want to start?
Yeah, what did you talk about in your preview?
Well, we actually did touch on Sonny, and me and Dave both agreed about dropping Sonny. Actually, we both said that at the moment he's not, for me, doing what he was useful at before. So if someone's not doing what they're good at any, or they're not being resourceful in what they're meant to be doing, why keep them on the field? Like, for me, they're just then not doing what you need them to do. So I would love to see a change. I think that a change could do Sonny good as well. Maybe a bit of mental rest for him. Maybe give him a bit of a kick up the backside, because he'll think to himself, hold on a minute, I can be dropped. No player is undroppable. I want every player to know they're not undroppable, so then they know, hold on, we can be dropped if we don't perform, because I think that's part of it, as we players a bit too complacent, and I don't like that. I don't like complacency in players at times. So I'd love to see Danjuma start. I really would. And I know people are going to go, doesn't do well straight away, going to be like, oh, see, but actually I think give the guy, I think we need to give him that opportunity to come on and see how he does.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, Mia. I do know what you're saying. Maybe a quick question as well for you, Mia, is also the fact that, maybe who do you think is your preference among the wingers? Is it Danjuma? Is it Richie? I feel like Danjuma, I don't know, he looks more comfortable, and some people like Dave here have been frustrated with Richie out on the wing. So would you sooner give Danjuma that chance, or would you give Richie that chance?
Yeah. It has to be Danjuma. I only want Richie to play. I was saying this yesterday. I want him to play either behind Kane, and then, or him and Kane can just swap. So he's more like the creative one, or him and Kane can just, like I say, switch it over, so no one knows who's going to run and who. It'd be more difficult to mark them, because Richie's better centrally, and I think him not being central is really like making people think he's not as good as what he can be. And I think he has got it in him to be good, but it's just playing him in his preferred position, which is central. It's not on the wing. Although he can play it, it's not it's not what he's best at. It's trying to use a spoon when you need a fork. Why would you do it? You wouldn't do that, would you? You'd use the tools that if you need a fork, you wouldn't pick up a spoon and go, oh no, I'll use a spoon instead. Like,
sometimes I just use a chip or a piece of bread, honestly. That's my fork as well, just to dip in, but I know what you mean.
The reason why I say no Richarlison, though, right, it's nothing against the guy, but there were games earlier on the season where he played out there, and it's much a muchness of what Son's doing now, right? Not being able to hold up the ball, trying to take too much out of it, heavy touches, this, that, and the other. And it's like, I don't see the point. If you're going to drop Son, you bring in someone else that is going to be able to hold up the ball, that is going to be able to load, offload it to somebody else, not someone that's going to come in and give you the exact same problems. But Mia, let's answer this for Dark Sung G. He says, I want to see Langley, Davies, Romero as a back three, a midfield five of Tanganga, left wing back, Sarr, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Kane, Royale, and then a front two of Son and Richie and Kulu. If this happens, Son is on fire. And I believe he's answered my question where I asked him, maybe give me your insight on where you think we can get maybe Son back into the game. So do you think maybe playing him in the front two might actually help Son a bit more,
moving him centrally, not have to worry about dropping deep and all that, maybe playing on the last shoulder of the defender?
I suppose possibly, yeah, but that's not the thing. Is we've got to be realistic in what Conte does. Conte isn't going to do that, is he? Like, we've got to be a bit more realistic to what we know, that the way that Conte plays. So for me, yeah, it could work, but then it might not work. So we obviously don't know, but I just don't think that it's realistic to think that Conte will play that system, because I just don't think he will, because 2 at the front and 5 in the middle, I don't know. I just don't. It's not the way he plays. It's just not. So for
just
me, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, just to play devil's advocate, Mia, and also for Dark Sun G here as well. It feels like maybe Antonio Conte, right? He tried to experiment with this idea of, taking a bit of that creative burden away from Harry Kane, because also, let's be honest, teams have figured out that Harry Kane is the guy that's going to be creating for others. But maybe with Sonny, maybe being asked to help out a bit more, it just hasn't worked out. And he just kind of maybe has to come to terms with it. It's partially maybe his own miscalculation, you could say, from Conte for not getting that right. But it also is on Sonny, maybe not being able to do those instructions to, you know, the best of his abilities. So maybe you just kind of shake hands and just realize, you know what, for the betterment of the team, for the betterment of this season, just start maybe compensating for Son then, and then you start playing to his strengths maybe a bit more, and it kind of gets you out of that funk. And that's what some people have proposed, because you know, we need to get out of this funk, Mia. So maybe that's what you do. You actually play to Sonny's strengths to maybe get the whole team out of the funk. Not even just Sonny, you get the whole team out of the funk.
But then you're playing to one player's strengths and not maybe so much of other people's by using by using the Longley, Davies, Romero back, and then Tanganga. It's not probably using them to their best. So then we're obviously taking away something from the other part of the team just for Sonny, when Sonny needs to do, obviously, if he can't do what he's asked, to me, he needs to be dropped. Like, we have even got Perisic, who can play in Sonny's position probably, because he's probably better off further forward on the field anyway, because he's better. Because I know that's an issue, obviously, at the moment, but I'm just saying.
Well, he's gone for Tanganga for a bit more defensive solidity.
Tanganga, yeah.
I guess just to be a defensive
but
stalwart.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't think that. Yeah, I just don't think that sacrificing and playing a different way just for Sonny is what I would personally think to do. Because then, like I say, then it might not work, and then you're doing all that just for one player. You can drop that player. We've got someone suitable to come in, which is Danjuma. So for me, we brought Danjuma to play in that position. So play him. Don't change the formation for Sonny. That's personally how I sort of see it.
I hear you. I hear you. But for me, I think when you've got a player of Son's ability and Son's you know, what he's contributed over the years, I do think you've got to try and find a way of getting more out of him. You've got to try and find of getting the best form out of him. I don't think we should be giving up on Sonny. I'm not saying by dropping him either, you know, that you're giving up on him. I do think tactically something needs to change, or a way of getting Son back into the game, because asking him to drop deep and get on the ball, and look, we might not even be asking him to do it. It's just that we're found out Son could be doing it himself because he's getting frustrated and wants to get on the ball and wants the ball. And that could lead to him, as soon as he gets it, trying to do an awful lot. But what's different is under Nuno, even though Son picked up the ball deeper than what he's picking it up now, it was facing goal and he was running at players and skinning them. Now he's doing it with his back two goals, becoming a real problem. And we do have to find a way of getting them back in form into the goals. But, you know, look, it's not only Son right now, it's also Kane, Kulu. You know, we have to find some way of you know, getting everybody sort of back on form.
It's almost like we could change either the shape to benefit the whole team, or we change the personnel to benefit the whole team. So either you drop Son for a few games, throw someone else in who has some fresh ideas, fresh bit of hunger. Maybe that gets us out of this sort of kind of temporary, you know, stall, or you just change the system in general, or I mean, change not even the system, or just change the shape a little bit, and maybe that actually gets you out of it. But it feels like maybe something has to change. Either it's the personnel, or it's it's maybe the shape. And people call for both, I think, or one or the other. That's for sure. But Mia, maybe some other questions for myself here. I mean, right wing back, do we go with Emerson, Pedro Porro? What are your thoughts?
I would say Emerson, because I think that although we all want Porro to come good, I think that in this game, because they're quite strong, West Ham, they've got quite big, strong players. I feel like that we probably need someone a bit more like Emerson, who is able to defend a little bit better, because I do think that they can give us problems, and they always do turn up for us. They might not turn up for any other game, but they always turn up for us for some particular reason. I don't really know why, because we're not their rivals. They're nowhere near us. I don't really know why they think we're their rivals, and they feel like they're so, you know, want to come to match us or come to us like they do. I don't really get it, but yeah, I do think that
you don't have a real disdain for the bubble blowers.
Do you know what? I said this to Dave. I don't particularly like them, but I'm not like I hate the scum. Like I hate them with every little fibre in my body. Like I hate Arsenal that much. As much as I love Tottenham, I hate Arsenal. Chelsea, I just don't like Chelsea because the way their fans behave, like, and the way the club went. Like, no, if Chelsea fans they get a bit kind of like I said to you the other day. Not that we're big boys, but they go amongst the big boys, and they're like the little one that was trying to fight. Everyone's like, come on then, come on then. But when you speak to them and go, you do know that Tottenham had more trophies before you had all that money, and they're like, oh, you weren't a big team before, you've won trophies, but historically you're not historically a big team, but they try to be, and their fans get a bit too big. They're a bit big for their boots occasionally, don't they? I know they've won a lot, and I do understand what other fans are going to say. Fans are going to say, well, they've won a lot, but have they always done that fairly? I don't know. Not particularly going to say, but I don't particularly think they have, possibly. So, but so West Ham isn't a team that I'm really like. West Ham's not a team that I particularly hate that much. Like I've got a bit they're a bit like like the annoying little brother kind of team. They're like that really annoying little brother. You put your hand on their head and they can't reach you, and they're trying to get you, and you're just looking at them like, what are you doing? That's what I see West Ham as.
I mean, they're just grown adults. They're just grown adults still blowing bubbles. Yeah. I think that's really all you have to look at it as. It's nothing deeper than that. Dark Sun G also was saying, though, to Mia, like, the likes of Perisic and Sonny together has been kind of hell this season. I must be honest. I think Perisic has also been very underwhelming, especially recently. What would you maybe say? That's my last question then, Mia. What would you say on Perisic? Like, is it maybe his sort of defensive liabilities aren't being covered up as much anymore by his ability going forward?
Yeah, I do think Perisic hasn't been great. I'm not going to say that he has. Going forward, obviously, he's so much better than he is defensively. And him and Son together, it just hasn't really worked out, has it? They just don't have that link up or that thing. I don't know. They just don't seem to do great on that side together. So I do think Perisic hasn't been good. He hasn't been as good because he's running back. He is old, isn't he? Like, I'm not being funny, but he's getting a bit on a bit. So it's really difficult for him to sort of run back. He does find that part quite difficult. But going forward, we've seen what he can do going forward. When he played in the World Cup and stuff, like he is a very good player still. When he puts them pinpoint balls, he can hit them like perfect. Like he's given us some brilliant assists this season. However, he is shocking. He's had a few games now where he's been shocking defensively.
The thing is, look, that was Ken. That was starting really the Man City 4-2. He was absolutely atrocious in that, especially that second half. But look, I don't want to make a big thing out of that. Perisic is the reason why Son's not on form. People saying, that he hugs the touchline. Well, people forget what Reguilon done last season. You know what I mean? It's like the difference is that Son was running in behind last season and Kane was getting turning. Not that Perisic is taking up Son's space, because Son rarely occupied out wide last season. Son was just able to get in behind. We were able to draw teams on us, get Kane to drop deep, get turn, and put the ball in for Son in behind. This whole notion that Perisic is the reason why Son's not performing, I don't get with, because it doesn't
it's kind
matter.
of Perisic's job to do what he's doing. It's Perisic's job. Yeah.
But even Sessegnon has played at times this season. He hasn't looked any better. And Reguilon got down that wing lots of times last season, occupied that wing loads of times last season, even getting into the box last season, and it didn't affect Son. So I don't want people to get this mixed up and start blaming Perisic for it, because it is not. Son's not on form.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant that they've both been bad down that side.
I know that. No, I'm just saying in general.
I was just clarifying. Yeah.
Oh, no, I know. It's just something I've seen made a lot of this season in general, and it's not the case. That's what I'm just saying. That's all. But Mia, tell people why they need to get off your channel and watch the preview.
Because me and Dave, we have a good old chat. It was fantastic. It's lovely always speaking to you, David, and Jack as well. Like, I always enjoy our chat. So it was really a really good in-depth chat, 40 minutes. So if you've got a bit of time, go over and give it a watch and a like and a comment underneath, because that really helps the algorithm. It's actually doing really well. So that obviously people are enjoying what we said. So that's always good to know. And obviously I previews, I do reviews. I also do lives. So I do my lives on Mondays, Wednesdays and Saturdays. So I'll be doing my live tomorrow, which is at 8:45 UK time. So if you're around for a nice early morning chill chat, I like to have a little chat in the mornings with people, just chill out, have a cup of coffee and talk Tottenham, because obviously we're playing on the Sunday. So tomorrow will just be basic. We can talk about what I'll put a poll out on what people want to talk about West Ham game. If there's anything else people want to talk about, I want it to be a nice little community where you can just come and chat like on the lives, which is like a friend. Like we all chatting together. We all support Tottenham.
Nice.
I respect all opinions over there. So
nice.
And even if you
All right,
disagree
everybody.
with me, I'm happy to hear people out.
There you go. Everybody head on over to Mia's channel, please, and hit that link, everybody. I'll put it in one more time so there are no excuses from yourself. But Mia, pleasure having you on. Thanks for getting us started.
Thanks for having me yesterday.
No worries. Next time, Jack, it'll have to be you, because obviously I've had Dave on, I've had you on a couple of times, and now it'll be your turn again.
Yeah, keep me ahead, on the score line, with me and Dave.
That's it.
That's a competition now. It's on. Well, Mia, big yourself up, and we'll speak to you again soon, my dear. Thank you.
I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
All righty. Good call, Mia.
Big up, Mia. Good call. But look, I think we'll keep this moving. We got hella guests.
Got to keep it moving. It's a big queue, everybody. It's a big queue. So I know normally the Friday chats are nice, long, sort of, chats with Jack or Dave, myself, but it is a big queue, everybody. People are like spamming that link to get in here. They're furious that, it won't let them in. So we do have to keep this moving, everybody. Please also as well, keep getting your comments in, smash that like button. And if you do want to ask the guest anything and skip the queue, feel free to throw it in as a super chat, everybody. But I do believe the next in the house was Dermatron. Here he is.
Come on. Oh, my bad. Big up, Dermo. How are you keeping, man?
Yeah, I'm keeping all right, sir. How are you two?
Not too bad. You must be taking inspiration from my dress sense. You're wearing a similar color jumper to me yesterday, man.
I just thought, well, Dave is the legend of fashion, so I have to follow the master. So there you go.
Honestly, I'm not the master of fashion. I like to think I am, but my fashion is weird. But anyway, Dermo, let's get on to talking this weekend. You want to talk about grown men dressing up as Barney for the weekend, blowing bubbles? Do you want to talk about Son? Do you want to talk about Conte? Let's talk about Conte, because we spoke about the West Ham game with Mia. Let's sort of like keep it fresh. On Conte, look, we're hearing a lot about, Stellini, people calling for Stellini. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
Look, Stellini only spent 6 months in his only manager's job, right? And then he got suspended for alleged match fixing when the Juventus thing in 2012. Now, he was only taken on for Conte's assistant after his playing career. And that was at, I think, Sarah, when they got promotion from Serie B to Serie A. Look, I love Conte to stay. Nothing in my wildest dream, but I love him to stay. But we've got no plan. We've got nothing coming out from Conte, nothing coming out from the club. It's like we're just poddling along. Just, it would do, it would do, it would do. If Conte is going to leave, I'd rather him do it now. And then bring in whoever we're going to bring in. Let's do it now instead of keeping us waiting and waiting to the end of the season. And it's really getting frustrating, because if the club are going to say to Conte, right, we're going to keep you for another year, announce it now so we know what we're doing going forward. The players will get a lift. The fans will get a lift. And this just going along. But on another thing, Dave and Jack, he's had loss of his 3 friends. He's been ill. He's away from his family. There's a human side to it as well as a football side to it. And I think if you're looking at it from a human side of it, you're thinking to yourself, Antonio, look, thank you for what you've done for us. Go and look after yourself. Go and spend time with your family, recuperate, get over the losses of your friends, and just take it easy. But selfish from a Spurs point of view, I say, Conte, get better, come back, because we need you.
Yeah, and also a difficult question to ask, Dermot, is if he's going to continue to be out for some time, there's only so much left of the season, and also his future is in question even this summer and everything. What do you kind of do? Do you kind of stick with a caretaker manager, kind of like Stellini, and, sort of see how you do with that and continue? Maybe you don't rock the boat too much, or do you rock the boat and maybe with considering the circumstances and everything, you perhaps bring in Pochettino or somebody like that? That's very familiar. That's what it maybe seems like. Is I don't know if they would go to a completely different manager. Maybe they might consider a Pochettino or something. Dermo?
I'm not sure he's there.
It actually looked like he was listening really intently. It looks like he's listening really intently, actually.
No, he's unhappy with your question, so we'll give Dermo.
He's super unhappy with my question.
That's what he is. We'll give Dermo a quick chance to come back in. We'll take some of the comments in the chat here. We've got Dark Son G, and then we've got Moni P and Ken T as well. We'll take their comments. We'll give Dermo a chance to get back in here. Dark Son G says, I agree with the comment of Moni and Ken for Son. So we'll start with Moni Pizza. Dark Son G agrees with them. He says, Conte plays Perisic as left wing, forcing Son to cover for him defending. Conte's tactic is not playing to Son's strengths. Fans want Son drop, so drop him and sell him. Son cannot succeed here. And Ken T says, because Son has so much defensive responsibility, because Perisic isn't the greatest defender, it's hurting his offensive play. Look, I hear what you guys are saying, right? I do hear what you are saying about him being asked to defend. That's not because of Perisic. That's because we've got to keep the lines and the gaps between our attack and our midfield and our back line very, very tight, because we can see goals left, right, and centre. So whether it's from crosses, whether it's people running at us, you've got to try and eliminate that. So by making the gap smaller between the midfield and the front line and the midfield and the back line, it eliminates that space that people have to run at us with. By, asking Emerson one side and Perisic the other side, the idea is to get out and maybe stop the crosses coming in. Now, it happens on Emerson's side. It's not happening on Perisic's side. But it's not Perisic's fault that Son's being asked to drop back deep. It's that back line's fault, because we concede way too many goals. So therefore, everyone is asked to drop deep. And it's not only Son that's being asked to defend. Kane and Kulu are as well, but they're still contributing going forward. There's Kane still scoring goals. So although I take your point, at the end of the day, until that back line is sorted, you're going to see a lot of this from managers that come in here. And again, I reiterate the point that Kane's still scoring goals. Kulu is still playing decent enough, but being asked to more or less do the same role as well.
I hear what Ken T and Moni are saying, Dark Sun G, but what I would add is I agree, Perisic is a liability defensively, but it's not like Sonny is exactly like a very defensively motivated person himself. He's not like Richie, where he's like running in and about trying to get stuck in. Like Sonny, let's be honest, this season, I think, too, has been oftentimes maybe a bit reluctant sometimes to make a challenge, or a bit reluctant to really get stuck in certain moments. And he does track back. But like I said before, if you compared him to maybe someone like a Richarlison who likes to run everywhere and like get, really defensive, I think someone like a Richarlison, you would maybe make that case for, because is he hurting himself by trying to be too defensively focused? And maybe he should save a bit more energy for, going forward. I think Sonny is one of those guys who does save a bit of energy for when he, can go forward. And I don't think he is as defensively interested as maybe other wingers are. And it's not really a slight on Sonny. I think most wingers in the modern game really aren't that defensively, interested to, track back and, help out. Perisic is still a liability regardless. But like I agree, I don't really think that plays much of a part with Sonny, because Sonny himself isn't that much of a defensively motivated person either. And if I were to make that argument where Perisic is hurting him because Sonny has to help out Perisic, I feel like that would be more the case if like Richarlison was playing there, because Richarlison is a guy who really likes to be defensively, helpful. And if a guy's getting run down the left, he might sacrifice his own attacking position to, help out someone defensively, where I don't think Sonny would do that. I think Sonny likes to preserve himself when going forward, which isn't a slight at all. Like a lot of players do that.
And I want to make this clear. Like, none of us are sitting here digging out Son. None of us here want him sold. None of us here ideally do want him dropped. But at the end of the day, the form is hindering us. And look, the one game he was dropped for this season, Leicester, he came off the bench and scored a hat-trick. And my feeling behind it is maybe you might get that same again, where you save him to come off the bench. But look, The reason why our attackers find themselves defending an awful lot is because we can't keep the football. When we have the football, the attackers are told to get further up the pitch. But when we don't have the football, they're asked to drop in deep, close up all the gaps and the spaces so that teams should find it hard to play through, which they don't. So the reason why he spends so much time defending is because we can't keep the football. And
I also just think genuinely, like if our other option then is Sessegnon, we look a lot worse with Sessegnon than we do with Perisic. Just simple as, like, we just genuinely look worse with Sessegnon because he can't get a single cross in at all, and he offers nothing going forward, nothing defensively. So then maybe you would consider like Ben Davies or something. But then, like I said, you're just making a lot of adjustments and a lot of sort of, you know, tweaks to fit Sonny. And maybe we need to do that. Maybe we need to do that. But it's just, you have to admit that if you have to accommodate a lot for a certain player, that's a bad position to be in sometimes, I think. And
I want to make this clear. I love Son. So I don't want anyone walking away from the thing going, Dave hates Son. Because that always happens, you know. I love Son. I'm telling you now so that you can't walk away saying Dave hates Son, this, that, and the other. And that's not aimed at you, Dark Son G. So just aimed at people in general that sit there and go, Dave hates Son when he doesn't. I'm telling you now, I love Son. But Dark Son G, big up, my man. I do see your points. You know, the only reason why I'm giving my point of view is hopefully we can all start understand each other, and by everyone giving their point of view, so hopefully we can get to the nuts and the bolts of the problem. But just on the defending, I wouldn't just blame it on Perisic. You got to blame it on the back line. The reason why everyone asked is to come back so deep, is to close up the gaps. And like I said, if we kept possession, Son, Kane and Kulu would be a lot higher up the pitch. Unfortunately, 1 minute we can keep possession. The next thing, I'm being sent sprinting down the Tottenham High Road to get the ball back. It's absolutely ridiculous. But big up, Dark Son G. Really appreciate the support, my man.
Dermatron.
You're back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
You looked angry at Jack's question. I thought you were like, no, fuck no, I'm not answering that. I'm out here.
No, sorry. My computer came up with a blue screen and it just shut everything down. So I had to reboot and start again. Sorry about that. Look, on the defender part of it, Dave, you just saying, yeah, sorry.
No. Go on. I was just saying to do it. I'll get this super chat in 1 minute.
I agree what you said. The defenders have to take responsibility for the mistakes, what they're making. The likes of Dyer and Davis and Sanchez. Longley Romero take the ball out and they play it out. So that pushes us up the field. When you've got defenders, all they do is just hoof it. It's not going to, by the time the players are up there, we've got to come back again. So we've really got to look at this in the summer. We really, really do. Even if it's Conte in charge or Poch, I want Thomas Frank if Conte doesn't come back. Somebody different.
Is that not a bit like calling for Graham Potter and look what he's done at Chelsea? Like, we do this all the time as well. We've got guys who've gone on and won leagues. He's gone and won domestic cups, and we're sitting here asking for a guy who's managed Brentford. But I hear people say I want the Zerbi. People before Conte came in were like, get me Potter. The reality is there's a reason why they manage some of these clubs, because they're not good enough for the bigger clubs.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Dave, on that. I do really agree with you. Look, I don't want Poch to come back because, A, he's coming back to the same place that got the sack in the first place. And is he going to be backed? The answer is we don't know. Probably won't be. So, look, to answer Jack's question on Conte, somebody's got to make a decision soon. Where are we going? Because we can't keep kicking this can down the road. Now, if they're going to take him up on his year option, announce it now. Say, right, Conte's staying for another year. He's recuperating. We can all get on board with that.
But
if Conte...
Here's the thing, Dermo, right? We're all sitting here sort of blaming Conte. We're all sitting here going, oh, well, it's up to Conte to commit. Now, I remember back in October, November when rumours came out, and I said, straight away I sussed it. I was like, this doesn't look good. It's, you know, they're not going to sign a contract. And everyone was telling me it's way too soon. Don't believe the media. Don't believe this. Don't believe that. Blah, 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 blah. You know, he's going to sign. And we're sitting here and he still hasn't signed. But we can't keep blaming Conte for this. At the end of the day, the club knew they had 18 months to turn this squad around and convince Conte. Yeah. They knew that going into the January transfer window, all you got to do is give the guy assurances and he'll sign a contract. But they didn't do it. So let's not keep putting this on the manager. Sometimes you've got to look at the owners and say, have you done enough as much as you can? I don't think they have. That might still be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think they have. And I wasn't blaming Conte. The board have to take responsibility for not sitting down. Look, He has signed the same number of players Jose Mourinho signed in the summer. I think he signed 7 players. Conte signed the 7 as well. But Conte hasn't got the players he wants, either for A, B, or C, whatever reason. January, we could have gone on more and beyond to back Conte, to make him feel wanted, to make him feel that, okay, we're getting behind your vision. We have a chance to win something under a great manager. Now, we haven't backed him. That's the club's fault. This should have been sorted out during the World Cup. There was no Premier League matches. He was back in Italy. Let's meet up for a week. Let's get this sorted. But there wasn't. And you can blame Levy, you can blame Paratici, you can blame the club. If the club offered Conte the terms he wanted, we're giving you this much in January, we're going to give you this much in the summer, and it meets with his requirements, his vision, then fine. He would have said, right, where's the paper? I'm signing now. The club do this all the time. They did it under Poch, they did it under Jose, they did it under Conte. And we're left with players that are not good enough for this football club. We're left with the defence line, Dave, you know yourself, that has not been upgraded since Poch. And we've had 3 managers since then. And then you've got players going to Levy, to Nuno, get him out, he's useless. And you're dead on right when you say that these players had to perform last season under Conte because they would have been kicked out at the end of the season.
Yep.
They've made a run for the moment back. And then the start of this season, we had the best Premier League start to it in the Premier League generation. And then they go back to their old ways. Why? Because they don't care. They don't give a shit. Conte then gets disheartened because the club are not backing Conte. So it's a mixture of everything. The club have to take responsibility. The players have to take responsibility. The club for not backing Conte, the players for letting Conte down. And if he was to walk out tomorrow, I would not blame him one iota. And if Harry Kane was to go at the end of the season, I wouldn't blame him either. Because you're sitting there watching 2 great managers go and you're getting Poch back. It's only brought in to appease the fans. Same thing happened when we sacked Terry Venables back in the early 90s, or when the Terry Venables thing. It was the same thing. Sugar brought Ozzy Ardiles in to appease the fans. Same thing when Enoch took over. Sacked George Graham, Glenn Hoddle came in to appease the fans. There's so much appeasing the fans you can do. I want trophies. I want success. I don't want another project.
I agree that these guys were actually brought in to appease the fans, like a Jose, like a Conte, because under Pochettino, they, the fans loved them. It was sort of come as a shock. And it's like, well, hang on, we better get in someone here that maybe they can get behind rather than criticising us. But then they never really backed Jose to the extent that Jose needs backing. Same as Conte, they got rid of Nuno. Fans were up in uproar. Where do we go from here? So they brought in Conte. But they also brought in 3 defensive managers since Pochettino because they know defense is shit. So their thinking is rather than bringing an attacking coach who's going to expose that backline more, let's bring in defensive guys who's going to protect them. So they know the issues, but they keep letting managers take the hit for it. Now, I have one more question for you, Dermot. I just want to take the bottom do the super chat before I give you that question, my man. The bottom do it says good forwards need to do their defense work. Gone are the days where they will just sit up top and score. Haaland participates in City's defensive play. I agree. Look, even if you're pressing, even if you're sent pressing, that's still sort of doing defensive work. That's called defending from the front. So regardless, whatever way you look at it, whether it's pressing, whether it's dropping back, every forward in modern day football has to do their defensive work. And it's just the way it is. Just the way it is. It's, look, if you've got a player, like you look at PSG, right, in a lot of times in the Champions League, they've got front players who don't really want to press, don't really want to do any defensive work. And that's why they don't win the Champions League, because not everybody's at it. It's not really a team spirit, Everybody has to muck in defensively and forward. That's just the way it is in modern football. The bottom do. I couldn't agree more, my man. Big yourself up. But Dermot, my last question for you, my man, is I hear a lot of this. Get rid of him, another manager be able to come in and get better out of these players. And I'm not talking about bringing in a manager and signing centre-backs and all underneath him and then saying, oh, look, I told you so. Will a new manager come in and get better out of what we currently have right now? No more silence.
No, because Conte would have done it. So what's the point of kicking the ball down the road? All three managers that we've had have got one thing in common. They didn't win anything with us, but they've gone to their respective clubs and won something with them. What does that tell you? That actually tells you something more than look, you could bring in the Pope and you probably get a bounce, right? And they'll probably all get on their knees, Lord Almighty, get prayed for the Pope and get top 4. And the fans will go, yeah, we're in the Champions League. That's not a trophy. An FA Cup's a trophy. A League Cup's a trophy. A Champions League's a trophy. Look, I want us to win stuff. I'm so starved of success. Yeah, Champions League nights are great. I can't wait to go over the season, the Champions League. Top 4, yeah, there's a buzz about it on the day you get it, and it lasts a few days. But there's no trip down the high road with the trophy. And I look back, I can remember us winning trophies, and I feel so sorry for the fans of today have never seen it. And that's shocking. There's a generation of fans.
Rubbing in, why don't you?
No, sorry, Dave. I didn't mean to rub it in, but I'm making a point. There's a generation of fans have never seen us win anything.
Yeah.
And that, for me, the club have to take responsibility. Now, if it's under new owners, if it's under Levy and Enoch, if it's under new owners, somebody has to take responsibility. We can't keep blaming the managers. It's the players. For about time when people wake up and smell the coffee, it's a Dyer, it's a Sanchez, it's a Davis, it's a Lamella, it's a Lo Celso, it's Mr. Burger King, Reguilon. All them players are coming back. Winks. All them players are coming back in the summer. If Poch comes in, they'll be all used again. You know, we keep going in circles. I want to get off this roundabout. I want to get on somewhere where we can get behind and back. If the club come out and say, we're going to back Conte with 250 million, there it is. This is our plan. I'm behind it 100%. But we don't know where we're going.
Right now, we come up to a roundabout. There's 10 different directions. We go down one, like, oh, no, hasn't worked, come back down. We'll go down this one. Instead of just turning around to Dave and going, Dave, read the map, which direction, which one do we need to come off the roundabout? You know what I mean? It's absolute madness. But Dermo, tell us what's coming up on THS.
Yeah. And again, can I apologise for my computer playing up? And I do apologise. I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry about it, my man. Mine's playing up too. It must be something here over in Ireland. Mine's fucking about to shit itself. But Dermo, what's going on over at
THC? We've got a new daily Spurs new round show every day at 12:30. That's kicking off on Monday. And then we're doing a debate next Thursday called The Sugar Years, You're Fired. Look in the back, all the managers under Alan Sugar. And we're on tonight at 9 for the post-match, me and the Godfather. And please, everyone, can you please get over to our sister channel, Queen Ellie Spurs Ladies channel, where Ellie will bring you all the latest on the Spurs ladies side of the game. And we just wanted to give Ellie her own channel, her own space to grow and talk about nothing but women's football. So please over there, give that a subscribe as well. It really means a lot. And we're in Ellie at... Yeah, it's really
actually good. It was good.
It was good. And we're nearly at 1,100. So we're only 4 away. So I'd love to get up there tonight before the start of the show. But please, everyone, like and subscribe here. Let's get the lads to 10K. They really deserve it.
Come on. The route match for 10K is on. Let's see if we can get it done before the end of the season. That would be awesome. But Dermo, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, sir. And we'll see you again soon. Look forward to hitting the lamb, brother.
Yeah, you too. And we're going to have a good time. And I need to get you two on the channel very soon for a show. We're having to do that soon. Thank you so much indeed. God bless you all. Come on.
Pick up, Dermot. See you soon, brother.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. We're going to keep this moving. Still got lots to test. But I just want to say quickly, I see people arguing over Son. Look, let's not argue over it. Let's just maybe enlighten each other where you're coming from. The arguments, just because someone is maybe, saying about Harry's son, about Son that he's out of form, it doesn't mean that they hate him. It doesn't mean that they dislike him. They're just commenting on what they see in front of them right now. That's all it is, And at the end of the day, Tottenham comes first more than any other player, and that includes Harry Kane. Because I know people are going to say, "Well, Dave, what about Harry Kane?" It includes Harry Kane. If it's not working out, you've got to find solutions. The club comes first, and that's just the way it is. But no one's sitting there saying they hate Son, to this, and it always happens when anytime you approach the subject of Son, That's like you're not allowed to talk about him. But yet everybody absolutely ridiculed Harry Kane last season. And it's kind of like, let's just calm it down a little. All we're doing is just having a conversation. Nobody hates.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think let's just take a quick chill pill, please, everybody, because everybody in the chat, I think, has their own feelings on it. They feel strongly about it. It's always been seemingly a sensitive subject, Sonny. So we all have very kind of, I think, strong and sensitive opinions. But I think we've delivered them very politely. I think we've delivered them very sensibly. Whether you disagree with them or not is up to you, I think, at the end of the day. But to say that an opinion, especially in my case, was shameful or anything like that, let's, not use words like that, please. That's taken it way too far. I think we've been very cordial. We've been very friendly. We've been, just expressing our opinions. We're the one here up on screen, just expressing what we believe personally. And I think we've gone about it in a very polite way. And so let's try to be polite with each other in the chat. Let's not take a mick out of each other or anything either. Let's not try to trigger each other, gaslight each other either. Let's just continue to have a good, productive conversation, but no need to, take things too far, please.
And Sugar Pebbles, no one's saying he's finished. Sell him. He's used. Well, John Stokes said sell him, actually. But anyway, look, no one's sitting here verbally abusing the guy. They're just commenting on, what's gone wrong. And in fact, I'd go as far as saying we're trying to come up with a solution. We're not just sitting here ridiculing the guy, rubbishing him, this, that, and the other. We're sitting here and trying to find out and ask him, what's the solution? How do we get something back to his best? So that's where we're at with it. But look, let's keep this moving.
Queen Ellie was in here earlier, but Queen Ellie, I think you might have popped out, so we're gonna have to move on. We'll, be happy to bring you on later, Queen Ellie, but we're gonna have to move on. It's Rufus, long as I, kind as Ann.
Long time no see.
Let's bring him in.
Oh, my bad. No, it's my bad. Where is he? Big up, Rufus. How are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Been quite busy. Lots of work to do and that. So
okay.
Every time I see you, you've got an even better tan than the last time. It's like you're always on holidays.
No. I'm always outside. So
always. How's Jacob? Just quickly, is he okay?
Huh?
Is Jacob okay? Just quickly, can I ask?
Yeah, he's really good. He's been very good, studying a lot for his Ausbildung apprenticeship to people who don't live in Germany. And he's actually been really good. And for somebody who hated studying, I'm really quite proud of him, to be honest.
Good man. Well, I mean, the bubble blowers this weekend, Rufus, you've decided to show up for the the fan show for the Irish Hotspur Derby. It always gets a little heated between us and the Hammers. It's getting heated even in the chat right now. What do you make of this? What do you want to talk about for the West Ham game?
It's your first game last year, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It's very close to me. It's close to our hearts over here on this channel.
I agree with Mira a bit. I just agree with Mira a bit. They're just like one of them little dogs that just keep yapping and
that. What's that dog's name out of Scooby-Doo? Scrappy-Doo. That's what they're like, isn't it? Scrappy-Doo.
It's just like little Scrappy. Scrappy-Doo is actually quite cool, and they're not.
But look, my man, we've got loads of subjects to touch on. The right wing back situation, Papa Batasar, Perisic, Sonny, Conte. Yeah, okay, let's go with it. What's your thoughts on it, my man?
Emerson, I just love his reaction to Porro joining the club. I think Jacob commented when we watched the Champions League game, it's a shame it cost us over 40 million to get the best out of Emerson.
Yeah, look, I hear you. But look, why do you pick Emerson? Is it because we've got to protect that back line first? Is it because Emerson has just started to play well? You want to give him that chance and feels like he deserves it? What's the reasoning behind Emerson?
Because I think we don't have anybody else to play on the other side other than Perisic, and we don't have the defence to play Porro and Perisic together. It just puts too much pressure on the back three. There's just too many defensive holes, and they're not going to get filled. And so I don't think Porro and Perisic has been my most underwhelming signing in a long time compared to how I expected him to be when he joined the club.
So because of the expectation you had of him coming in, realistic. That's why interesting. Everybody, let us know, and that's an interesting take. Let us know in the comments. Do you agree with my man here? Do you think that Perisic is probably one of the most underwhelming signings because of what we expected and what we're seeing? Jack, interesting take.
No, I mean, it's deeply underwhelming. And also, as you know, I was speaking to Rufus in the back end about it, is also the president of the Itch Enthusiast Club, Dave. It's been, really underwhelming. And, I expect more from Itches. I expect them to be able to settle in quickly. And also maybe for me, Rufus, I think what's a bit more disappointing about Perisic, right, is we knew that he was going to get the assists. We knew that he was going to provide, creativity from set pieces and all that. We also thought he would maybe pop up with a few goals, right? Where maybe he would cut inside and, have a crack, or cut inside and be able to maybe take on his man one-on-one. I feel like he hasn't done that at all very much, Rufus. Or even when he has, he's made a howler of it. Even that game most recently, I think against Leicester City, he had that like one-on-one chance, and he just completely blew it. It was really underwhelming. Felt like Reguilon, in fact. He's kind of looked like Reguilon when inside the box. So I don't know, he's been underwhelming there too for me.
Maybe a good point to touch on would be it's quite strange that two of our most underwhelming players this season have been Perisic and Sonny. They both play on the same side. I just don't think they have any chemistry whatsoever. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's one's got I got the golden boot, the other one's I got silverware. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I'm barking up at the wrong tree, but I just think
was it any better when Session was playing, though? Was it any better when was Son any better when Session was playing?
Not this season, but maybe it's because most of the time he plays with Perisic, and then he's also feeling the pressure because he's not been performing. Do you know what I mean? So, even when he does get to play with somebody else, and when he did score, who was Perisic on the pitch? I can't remember now.
This season
against Leicester.
Yeah.
Perisic originally started on the right-hand side next to Sanchez, and he might have been taken off early, but he was playing on Sanchez's side, I believe, that day, actually.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just I just don't think they've got any chemistry at all, the two of them. And I think it's no coincidence that both of them are underwhelming this season.
Also, as well, last season, I remember when Dave and I were doing those tactical breakdowns, and I believe a lot of people in the chat might remember this too, is when we were looking at those heat maps from Sonny, the majority of Sonny's heat map, I remember, was found kind of right in the middle of the pitch, right in the center circle, basically sitting on that last man. And this season, it's probably very, very different. And that's because of the tweaks that Antonio Conte has made. But I think people might be missing, or people might, probably need to consider as well, is after last season, I believe a lot of teams have probably figured out how we did play and how we did progress in the attack. They knew that Sonny was that guy making the runs in behind. Harry Kane drops deep to be able to find others. And it feels like this year they're trying to take Harry Kane more so out of the game, which is then making other players have to help out in the creativity department. But I don't know, Rufus, it feels like maybe it just hasn't worked out for Conte. That sort of kind of, that tactical change just hasn't worked out. So what do you think? Does he need to either, put someone else in like Danjuma, or should he just consider maybe trying to just go back to what we did last season, or switch the shape up a little bit or something like that?
I don't know. It just seems quite funny when I remember the last game of season when Sonny was fighting for the golden boot. We were setting him up for fun, for absolute fun. We were just setting up balls for him left, right, and centre. Where's that Tottenham gone?
Norwich are already relegated, though. To be fair, I wouldn't take too much out of that.
But Dave, you noticed the space that Sonny used to have, right? The space that and Harry used to have. The space that Harry and him used to benefit each other. Now it feels like neither of them have that space, or if one of them has the space, the other doesn't. Kind of.
See, this is where a different sort of talking point comes in. It's like, okay, so last season Kane was the creativity. Kulu helps out at times. Son, helped out at times last season. Son's creativity isn't there. Kulu's isn't there. But most importantly, who was the ticking heartbeat behind it last season when he got going, Harry Kane, his is not there. So where's no other creativity in this team? No one else can step up and do it if Kane doesn't do it. And teams have sussed that out. When Kane was dropping deep, they said, leave him. The further away from goal he is, the better it is from us. Then they discovered, like, well, holy shit, I mean, the guy can pick a 60-yard ball onto my knob, and that's tiny. You know what I mean? So, like the fact that, you know, they realize that, so now they start going down, closer and down. It's like, okay, well, they're asking another question. Where's the rest of the creativity in your team? We don't have it.
I tell you what, and I'm going to knock on wood because I don't want to jinx this. Sarr.
How good did he look, man?
Just say it. Musar Dembele. Just say it.
That's where our creativity is coming. I've had a few people liken him to a young Patrick Vieira.
No, he's Musar Dembele, I think.
Not like using that name, but I understand it.
But I don't know, but he just looked so awesome. And Skippy, undersung hero. I tell you what, he was one of my favourite players last season. Before his injury, and it wasn't because he was like the most blazing new player or the most talented. You know, he had his mistakes in him. I like Skip because he put in a shift.
Yeah, no, he's a guy who puts on, you know, it's almost like he puts on the workman's hat, you know, and it go into the game, right? He's kind of like the union man, you know, goes into the game, works hard, puts like a pickaxe over his shoulder, kind of like a bit like Højbjerg, what we compliment Højbjerg for a similar thing.
Yeah, you know, what was the game last season before his injury? Was it two really brilliant two-footed sliding tackles?
Leicester.
Last season? Last season? Yeah, that was terrific.
I'm not saying it's, you know, I'm not saying he's the most talented player in the world or stuff. It's just the guy puts in a shift when he's given the chance. And like maybe it's taken him a while to get back from an injury. So
he just loves getting stuck in. And I mean, I love players like that love getting stuck in, love, you know, a big, hard challenge. And with the younger lads nowadays, you don't see it as much, I think, too. So it is good to have one of our own be that way. Do you feel like, though, Papa Matasar's ceiling is like maybe just higher? Like that's what maybe people are excited about with Papa Matasar. The ceiling is very high for him.
Oh, yeah. So we're lucky to have him. Do you know what I mean? I think we just have to keep giving him the chance, like, because I mean,
I think he's a better partner for Højbjerg too than like Skippy would be.
And also in defence of Skip, I mean, let's just put this into perspective. Wasn't it? If I could stand to be corrected, and I will be in the comments if I'm getting this wrong, but wasn't it both their first Champions League start?
Yes, for Skippy, full debut, because he's featured in Champions League before. He's had minutes. For Papa Matasar, like full minutes outright, like, you know, first Champions League minutes in general.
And in Italy, in that stadium, in that atmosphere, and they didn't bottle it. That was what impressed me.
It's very impressive. And in fact, it probably was, I believe, in the pre-match build-up, it was kind of like we were kind of more depending on everybody else to sort of help them out, Rufus, right? Because they were going to being asked, a lot of them, it was going to be a lot of pressure on their shoulders. It's kind of up to more experienced players to help them out a bit more, kind of ease them into the game. It felt like the other way around, honestly, Rufus, where it was like Papa Matasar and Skippy were showing the rest of the team how, you know, what to do.
They bossed it.
Yeah.
I mean, we might have lost, but I've said a lot of the time, the biggest thing that's nerved me this season is it's not losing, it's how we've lost a lot of the time.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it would have been nice to have a 1-1 or at least at the end of that game. But like we were away in Italy and we put in a good performance. I wasn't ashamed of the performance.
Yeah,
I was disappointed in the result, but I thought the performance was.
It was
good.
a day where I felt like the front three actually didn't show up, if you ask me, Rufus. Yeah. Yes, we conceded a silly goal. Like we always know this back line is going to concede a silly goal that's unnecessary. But for the most part, only until kind of the end of the match did really AC Milan start to get chances again. So it felt like it was really maybe the front three that sort of disappointed on the evening, would you say?
Yeah.
Kulusevski, Kane, Son, all kind of, you know, disappeared.
I think Kulu seems to still not trust his hamstring.
1 goal and 1 assist since the World Cup.
Yeah, but he's injured. I don't think he just quite trusts his body at the moment. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Sean said like some of the sprints he was doing, it looked like he wasn't even like going like 100%. Like maybe just was kind of, yeah, like you said, kind of holding himself back a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, he hasn't had any explosive runs that we're used to from him, because I mean they were explosive. I mean, like 1 minute he's sort of like a few meters over the halfway line, and the next minute he's at the corner flag popping one in, you know, or cutting in and changing his foot, and we're missing that from him. You know, it's that danger. Maybe because we're missing that danger from Kulusevski, it's making us easier to mark at the front.
Yeah, sorry, I was just communicating to Ellie. Ellie, if you can hear me, you'll be after Rufus now because you were originally before the Rufus. But Rufus is getting warmed up for Ellie to come on. He's warming you up, Ellie. But I mean, just also though on the likes of maybe I feel like the midfield. Do you think we can persist with this 3-4-3, or should we maybe consider 3-man midfield, get Skippy in there somehow, or? I guess we probably can't do that maybe because of all the injuries. It might answer my own question. All the injuries, it's a bit of a risk to probably go for a 3-man.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think we're just missing too many players at the moment, and it's very difficult to change our shape with the.
So maybe Skippy can come on and do, you know how Basuma's come on, Rufus, and kind of like, you know, helped us out for seeing out the rest of games in the 3-5-2. Maybe Skippy can do something similar where he kind of comes into the game, you know, 70th minute kind of time, 75th minute, sort of sees out the rest of the game, gets stuck in a few times, few two-footed challenges, like you said, you know, and maybe that's what because Basuma's kind of had that role for us this season. Maybe Skippy can do that.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe he can fill in for like Basuma at the moment. I pretty much imagine that's the way it will go.
Yeah, me too.
And then I mean, Richie. I think I've liked Richie better when he's been on the left wing than on the right wing.
Dave doesn't even like him on the wings in general.
I put him on the Sonny side because I think he's done better over that side. But at the end of the day,
let me ask you on that, Rufus. I'm just interested to know, man. Like, you know, what has he done differently on the left wing that he's done on the right wing? Because from my point of view, he hasn't contributed anything when he's played on either side.
I don't know. I just found him a bit more. I just found that there was just a bit more about him on the left. But I agree with Mia. At the end of the day, he needs to be playing up the middle. I mean, just look how he is with Brazil and stuff like that. And maybe his time will come. Harry's not signed anything. We don't know what the future is with Harry. You know, like if Harry's this goes, then Richarlison gets his chance. You know, and maybe we'll see some overhead scissor kicks and stuff like he did for Brazil in the Premier League. You know,
that'd be nice.
Chances come along. I mean, I was thinking about this, and I was talking to my Jacob about it. And you know, I said, look, at the end of the day, Harry Kane probably wouldn't be the player he was today if Tottenham weren't so shit at buying strikers. Because after Defoe,
he wouldn't have gotten the amount of games he's been given. Like Harry Kane has run till he drops. Yeah, right. So maybe that's you would say he would be a bit further away from Greaves had maybe there been another striker that could have filled in for him when he was tired or something. That's never really been the case. So it gets him those extra games, in fact.
When Jacob was born, we had Berbatov and Keane, and then Defoe is the backup. You know, like, and Berbatov and Keane had that season. I mean, they were absolutely in sync, awesome.
We could use a Berbatov right now, I'll tell you that, like to help with the creativity problem. We could use that.
And then after that period, you know, you've got your Soldaldos and this. I mean, the amount of money Tottenham spent on strikers, or either just didn't sign any strikers. And then at the end, we had no choice but to play Kane. There was nobody else. I mean, if there had been a big player at the club, he would have probably been a sub. But we had no choice. He was the only striker we had. And he took the chance, and he's become a legend. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the guy. Please don't misunderstand me. And you know, like maybe if he leaves the club, Richarlison gets his chance, you know, he gets his time, you know?
Go
ahead.
You're right in what you're saying about, you know, Kane taking his chance, because, you know, he was given chances in the Europa League games, you know, and he took his chances. He was scoring goals, which then meant the manager had a bit of faith to be able to select him in the Premier League games, and he took them chances. And that's what That's not what players are doing at Tottenham over the last couple of years. You look at, the Europa Conference League, ideal chance for periphery players. Some of they didn't take the chance, which, means the youngsters aren't getting off the bench to take their chances. But back in the day when I was growing up, you played players coming back from injury, periphery players, and a mix of youth players in some of them early rounds Europa League. But they took their chances. We're seeing too many players at Tottenham over the last few years getting chances and not taking them, and it's a huge issue. And rather than say, okay, well, we've given you chances, but you're out the door, we want to hold on to them. We want to change positions. We want to, persist with them when we just don't take no for an answer. But, any youngster out there, Harry Kane took his chance. That's what you got to do.
Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Bought as a left back. Seen as a bad luck talisman for a long time, called Jonah. Every time he played,
24 games without a win, I think.
Yeah. And then through injury, there was no choice. We needed a left-footed player. He played with Disco Benny, and the rest is a legend.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to jinx it, but I felt that a bit like that about Sarr. It's just a young player, just sort of like taking his chance, given an opportunity. Maybe he wouldn't have got that opportunity if other players weren't injured or in hospital or on the operating table like they are at the moment. Maybe he wouldn't have got that chance. But the thing that impresses me is he took it, and he took it away from home in a deafening stadium where you could hardly hear Tottenham, and you know how loud our fans are, even if there's just a few thousand of them away.
You're on fire today, Rufus. Absolutely great point, my man. I absolutely love that, man. You're on fire today. Jack, any more questions, or we keep moving?
I feel like only one question left for me, Rufus. I mean, and it's going to be a simple one. How many goals are we beating the bubble blowers by?
I'd love to say 5 or 6. At the moment, it'll probably be 1. But I'll take
just one hand's worth. Just one hand's worth of goals.
I'll take 1. I'll take 1 against West Ham. 1.
There you go. 1-0. 1-0 to the 1-0 to the Spurs.
1-0 to the Tottenham.
Rufus, my man. One of them will do either or. But Rufus, my man, big up. Really enjoyed that call today, actually. Some really interesting points you made. And it's good to see you back.
Yeah. Good to be back. Life's busy. You got to earn the crust, mate. You got to earn the crust.
Look, that's why I said to people, see people coming back in. Sorry, I haven't been around in a while. It's like, look, I get it. Work, life, problems, all things are more important than Spurs YouTube. I can tell you that, my man.
But don't be gone too long, Rufus. Don't be gone too long.
I hope to get Jacob back soon.
Good man.
He's never met Dave before, so that'll be a tough one.
Good. I look forward to it, my man. Look forward to it. Rufus, we'll see you again soon, sir. Big up.
Guten Nacht. Schönes Wochenende.
Take care.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Let's hope so. We'll see him again. Big up, Rufus. Catch your brother.
Rufus impressed with my Rufus impressed with my German, so he is. He loves it.
Even more impressive, Dave, because it means see you again, basically. So I hope so, Rufus. Don't be a stranger, my man. Don't be a stranger. Devout Duda says nothing's wrong if a player is out of form and if he is rotated, but blaming the world for a player's form is ridiculous. No one was complaining when Kane was feeding assists last season from the midfield. And like I said to Duda, it sort of always has been, I think, a touchy / maybe sensitive sort of subject because everybody loves Sonny, and he's probably honestly one of the most favored, most beloved players in the world. They're not even Spurs fans. Like, I've heard people even joke, like, when is Sonny's smile going to come back to the Premier League? Like, everybody just wants to see Sonny smiling, doing his, celebration, just back to his old, happy self. And that's all we want at the end of the day. But we also have to recognize, maybe what's gone wrong for Sonny and how it can be fixed. And part of it he has to take responsibility for. And then I think part of it, like we've tried our best to say too, maybe Antonio Conte, is also taking responsibility for. And we're trying to find some sort of solution for it. But I don't think anybody's wrong or right about it. But I just, for me, it just always needs to be approached, just with the utmost respect for each other's, sort of take on it, because it is a player that we all love dearly. And that's how we should all look at it at the end of the day. It's just a player we all love dearly, and it's a player we want the best for.
Here's where the bottom do is right though, Jacko. It's like it wasn't working for Harry Kane. So it's like, okay, Harry, everyone was asking questions of Harry. What have you got? What have you got? Can you adapt your game? Well, Kane did. I don't think it's unfair to ask Son to do the same. If it's what's required for the team and it's what's best for us right now, I don't see the problem of asking Son to adapt his game and work something else out. We asked Kane to do it. Nobody had a problem when Kane was dropping deep, sacrificing goals, assisting Sonny. So why can't you ask these questions of Son? At the end of the day, I've made it clear, and over here we absolutely love Son, and I'm very grateful for everything he has done in the Tottenham jersey, and I forever will be. I'll never ever question that and the loyalty that he's shown to this club when he could have moved on for bigger and better things. And I'll always be very, very indebted to him for that. But at the end of the day, I think asking him to adapt his game and become an even better player, I don't see it as a problem.
Or it's not too much to ask at the end of the day. It's not, it's not crazy or insulting to ask someone that sort of thing. And, but, we're going to find a solution at the end of the day, even if it means having to go back towards maybe Sonny's strengths a bit more, cater towards his strengths a bit more. If that's what needs to happen, that's a valid opinion, I think. And we've even offered that opinion. Like if that's what needs to, go for right now, then that's what needs to go. But Tabata Duda, I also would say, I think people maybe are also just ignoring the fact, and Tabata Duda brought this up here, Dave, is that Harry Kane was really successful in finding space last season to create for others. Obviously, teams are going to pick up on that, and they're going to be able to find ways to make that a bit harder on Spurs. And that doesn't mean then you can just continue with the same method. You do have to sort of make little tweaks here and there to also maybe catch teams out, because if teams are going to put all their players on Kane, then obviously other players are going to be able to then, have more space and maybe more of an opportunity to create than maybe Kane might. And I think we've just struggled with that. And let's also be honest, Kulusevski the last few games have struggled with that too. Like he's not exactly taken the creative burden, off of Harry either. So it's a mixed, it's a big conversation. It's a big bag of problems, I would say.
And I want to also add just off the back of that, Son learning to deal with these sort of problems will only make him a better player and make him even more unplayable in the future. And that's why I think it is a good thing to ask these things, because we only want Son to, because when we can get to a point where it doesn't matter what you ask us, Sonny, it doesn't matter what you ask your Kane, they can deliver. It's the best it is for Tottenham Hotspur at the end of the day. And look, Son went on an incredible run from, ironically, the game this weekend, last season, onwards. This is where he got the majority of his goals for that Golden Boot.
Yeah, when he was on fire.
Scored, I think it was, 2 against Norwich. There was another 2 against Leicester, another brace or a hat-trick against West Ham, something like that as well. So he scored a lot of goals at the back end of last season, and there's no reason why he can't recapture that this season. But
I'm with you.
Right now, for needs was to be able to get out of this funk, just a 1 or 2 games might do him good. That's all we're saying. But the bottom do a very good point, my man. Really appreciate
very good point.
The support. We'll keep
everybody. Thank you to Bottom Dude, my man. It's a very good point, and do appreciate your support. And everybody else who has in the chat so far, also over 100 likes so far. You have done your duty today, everybody. Harris Army, really big congratulations to yourselves, and also thank you everybody for I think it's been a good chat so far, and I think it's been very civil. So I do really appreciate that, everyone. But we are going to bring on Queen Ellie. She was here before Rufus, everybody. She was here nice and early, and I think then she had to dip out for a second, but she came back, before we, maybe had to, lose her spot. So she's got her spot back, the Queen Ellie. Here she is.
Let's get her on.
Sorry, because Angela had me on the smoothie duty.
Oh, I need one of those.
I had to do a smoothie with cow, spinach, cucumber, mango.
That's a little too healthy, actually. I don't know if I wanted that one. I don't know if I want that
get
one.
on a health kick.
I was thinking more strawberries, orange juice, things like that. But Ellie, I want to say something quickly. You are looking very, very professional, even more professional than me. First of all, compliments on that.
Yeah. See, the green screen behind, I can't put it on your show because normally I have the Spurs stadium in the back. Yeah. But I haven't got that. I don't know how. I'm not really technical, right? So I did my first show on my channel today. I just done a little short just to try it out. But it came out all right, I think.
No, I watched it. It was good. It was good. I was
all right.
in the comment section.
Yeah, it's just my thoughts on the match. That's all.
No, it was good. But look, Ellie,
Yeah.
let's we'll give your channel a nice little plug at the end. But
Yeah,
plenty of things
true.
to talk about on Tottenham Hotspur.
Typical woman getting it in first, isn't it?
No, you did right. You did right. But where do you want to start? There's so many things to talk about.
I want to start with Conte's position and what it means that he stayed in Italy. A lot of fans are saying that he's given up on Spurs, but if you read his message, it is far from the truth, isn't it? Right. So I think there's a lot of speculation that he doesn't want to stay with us, you know. But I keep on harping back to that interview where he said he feels part of the family. He wants to make stepping stones slowly, slowly. You have patience, he said to us fans, because he knows what's wrong with the team. He's not blind, the man. He might have had his gallbladder removed, but he's not had his eyes removed. And he can see Eric Dyer's in defence, and he knows it needs changing. So, listen, he's one of these managers. I've heard that he doesn't build, all right? But he's come to the age, right? He's 53 now. He's no shrinking violet. He knows probably this one and another couple will be his last managerial jobs. He'll probably go and manage Italy after us, but I think he's here for the long haul. I'm like you, Dave. I feel strongly that he's going to stay, right? So, yeah,
I think you're like me, Ellie. I think Dave has, maybe, I'm not sure, Dave, but Ellie, I'm keeping the hope. I'm a delusionist.
Maybe it was Jack then.
I am a little delusional, Ellie. I'm keeping the faith.
The wrong fella, as normal.
No, I've said for quite some time, even as back as October, November last year. I think it's a marriage of convenience at the end of the season. But I just want to take just one touch point on the build, and then I'll let Jacko come in. Is we say Conte doesn't build, but what is building in football this day and age? Building a young squad, bringing them through. Because even if you go out and spend money and bring in players, you're still building, right?
Yeah,
you still have to put something together. So this whole nonsense that Conte doesn't build, it's nonsense. He had to build what he had at Inter Milan. He had to build what he had at Juve. You know what I mean? He had to build in all the other jobs that got him them top jobs. So this whole notion that Conte doesn't build, I don't get with. You don't win trophies or league titles without building stuff.
That's right. I know there's the adage saying that he likes to have ready players, but what manager doesn't? What manager wants to blood youngsters who have not been tried and tested when they've got a man they can bring in that is tried and tested?
But
especially if they're Premier. Yeah.
This is another thing, though, Ellie. People batter the club for not bringing in here and now players. And now they want the manager who wants that, but they want him sacked for a guy who, to build. And it's kind of like, what do we want at this football club?
I know, it's mixed messages, isn't it? The main thing is that he gets it right, and that if he is going to stay, that he puts the building blocks that he said he wants to put in. I don't think he's getting these players in for another manager to reap his rewards. Because we're still in the FA Cup, we're still in the Champions League. We're only 1-0 down against AC Milan. So it's not as if we can't turn that around. One goal, we're back in it, So, yeah, look, we've got to go to Sheffield. That's going to be a hard test. I think that's going to be an even harder test than the AC Milan game. Because that AC Milan game, I don't know, when you come over, boys, for that game, right, it's going to be electrifying, the atmosphere. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And they won't know what hit them, the Italians. So I heard Conte say that the English fans are not, they're not as passionate. I think we are. It's just we're more fickle and we're more critical, Maybe the Italians, they love their players, and they follow their players and they give them the love. But
I don't think he's heard your screams for Højbjerg, Ali. I don't think he's heard your screams for Højbjerg then,
I know. Look, I mean, I've always got him on hand, haven't I? Yeah, listen, I just feel that we've got to stick with Conte. I love him. I think he's a fantastic mentalist manager. All right, some people say he doesn't make substitutions on time. But what makes you think those substitutions could make a big difference anyway? He's quite loyal to his players. I like that in a manager.
No, he doesn't dig them out and compared to maybe how Jose had in the past, when Jose felt like I mean, I kind of didn't blame Jose at time. I kind of felt like there were moments when he didn't need to take, the fall for the players. But,
Yeah.
Conte has, I would say, when maybe he didn't need to, Conte has. And
Yeah.
also that I agree with you, Ellie, because then people get upset with his press conferences because then they're like, oh, why was he saying they played so great, or why are they saying, they played so bravely when they didn't? It's like, well, I mean, he's doing the opposite of what Jose was doing, where he's not like, going to dig out these players in the public, like, so I don't know. I'm with you, Ellie. That's a good point that you make there.
Yeah.
What do you make of, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just seeing that comment and then it flashed off. Oh my God. I can't ever see Conte as a bad luck manager. He's an inspirational manager. He's a mentalist. He gets inside people's brains, and he makes them think about things. I think he
What do you
is
make
a
of Stellini?
fantastic
Some people want
motivator.
Stellini, Elliot.
I just want to comment on this motivate players sort of jazz. I mean, the contracts they sign, the wages they get in their bank account every week, the fact that they're living everybody's dream should be more than enough motivation for these guys to go out for their performance. You hire a manager for tactics, to be able to manage a group of individuals, this, that, and the other. You don't hire a manager just purely to motivate players. If that's the case, go and get me Mr. Motivator in here. But
yeah.
Like,
I know.
Ellie, where do you stand on this motivation thing? Look, I think Sugar Pebbles, I do understand what he says, because there is an element that the coach has to motivate players, but should he have to do it every single game? Surely, sometimes you've got to look at the players and say, where's the motivation within yourself? Where's your hunger,
Yeah, I agree with you, David. Do you know what? Sometimes, like that Man City game, right? They came out with fire in their bellies. They were pressing, impressive, very impressive. And then they go to Leicester and they lose all desire to play any type of football. They can't even string 2 or 3 passes together without losing the ball. They're not pressing them. They're just laying off them. Then there's Eric Dyer backing off in the attitude to let him have a free rein on goal. You can motivate players, but you can't teach them how to play football. Sometimes
questions like that, though, surely you should be asked. If you're going to ask it of the manager, you should be asking it of the players as well, though, right?
Yeah, they should provide their own motivation. Your own self-pride to go out on that pitch and give your all every single match, regardless of who you're playing, or what's at stake. There's so many bottle jobs in our team that don't pull their weight, and all the ones that they get left behind because they can't do it all the time. They can't pull us out of the mire all the time. It's impossible.
And just to follow up on Sugar Pebbles here as well. Yeah, I know. Look, I hear you, Sugar Pebbles. I do. We said the same under Jose, though. We said the same under Nuno. Now we're asking the same under Conte. It was the same under Poch the season he got sacked. And, when I still see current individuals still here, and we're still talking about the motivation, managers should be getting better. I'll be honest, I'm just tired and sick and tired of hashing out the same talking points. I'm just tired of keep pretending it's all the manager's fault, all we like, but it's not going to solve a problem until we can have an open, honest conversation and talk about some of these defenders, talk about some of the players that have been here long term, talk about players that aren't good enough, like Assess Young, instead of sitting here going, oh, there's a player in there, this, that, and the other. 3 managers, no players, still no sign of it,
Yeah.
we can't keep always pinning everything on the manager because he's paid a wage. Sometimes you got to look at the internals and say, okay, well, does the manager ever succeed? I was on a channel the other day, and the guy said to me, but I want what Arsenal's got down the road. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But you do realise Arsenal fans wanted Arteta sacked last season, and they stuck by him and said, we can't keep going through managers. We're gonna blitz this squad and bring in a squad that the manager wants. Well, we have to do the same. So if you want what Arsenal's got down the road, you shouldn't be Conte out. You should be backing Conte and demanding that the improvements are still made. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say back Conte because I think he's been back to a certain degree. but continue to back the guy, continue to fix the problems in the squad. You can't say, oh, what this club has got, and then not want to go through the process for it.
Yeah, I think he's been backed to a certain point, but I don't think he's been backed in the right direction, because I'm a little bit disappointed with Conte as well, because he can see that our back line has leaked goals, yet the January sales come up and we don't get a centre half to replace Dyer. You know, that is a gaping hole in our team. We've leaked about 6 goals from his mistakes, just from his mistakes alone, right? And then you've got to add Lloris's mistakes to that. But the keeper can save you a match as well. And he has. Against Man United, all right, we lost, but he was fabulous in that game. And he has been performing miracles in some of the matches. I remember the Fulham match. He'd done 2 world-class saves. But nobody remembers those. They always put on Lloris. But I can't defend him because he has made mistakes as well. All right. So you've got to call him out for that. But this thing that he's too old, I don't buy into that. I don't buy, because what is he, 34? Lloris? Is he 34?
Lloris, yeah, he's 34, 35 now anyway.
Yeah, he's still relatively young for a goalie. Most goalies don't retire till they're about 37, 38 anyway. So he's still got years in him if he wants to stay. But I know what some fans are saying. We need to replace him because he's made too many errors this season. Errors that he wouldn't have made last season or the season before. But I've seen Lloris make quite a few errors down the road. Do you remember when he used to come out like a sweeper and really mess it up a lot of the time? Yeah. So he hasn't really changed. It's just maybe it's more highlighted this season because we've lost more games and he's cost us more games.
But also, I think the reason why it's more highlighted this season than last season, then, is because last season the back line helped them out, right? Especially last second half of the season.
Yeah,
Dyer,
especially Davis.
Porro, they were doing all right. This season, when they're missing simple headers, misplacing simple passes, letting the ball roll over or under their feet, you know, it exposes Hugo a lot more. But it's also asking Hugo to do a lot more as well. Good point. But anything else you want to touch on, Ellie, before we let you go, my dear?
I'd like to talk about Harry Winks as well, because he's the lost man of Spurs. I thought I'd upset you, David and Jack.
Someone done this to me last week. I was like, guys, I'm trying to get a good night's sleep here.
Yeah, because there's some positive news coming out about him, you know, since he's been playing. And I don't know, maybe the slower league in Italy suits him, you know, because he's got more time on the ball.
I hope it does.
Time, you know, maybe he'll come back an improved player. You never know.
No.
You never know.
Ellie,
please.
I love you. I love you, and you know how much I love you. But let's not do this to ourselves.
Or what?
Yeah, no. Look, let's not do this to ourselves. You know, the guy's had his opportunity. He was going on he took it for a while. A couple of years, he just went into shit. We loaned him out because he no longer offers what we need for this team. We got to stop looking at these guys and going, oh, what if we bring him back? Maybe. No, the answer was already there. That's the reason why he is there. The reason why he's at 26 years of age.
I wanted to rile up David. I wanted to get you going on a Winks.
Dark arts by Ellie there, bit of dark arts.
For a while.
Oh, you shithoused me. You shithoused me, Ellie.
I shithoused you. Right, no, because I was talking about him with Dermot and we both agreed that he's shit.
Okay, that's all right. I was going to say, if Dermot started agreeing with you, he's also deluded.
Right, do you know what,
plus,
though?
I was going to say to you, don't forget, he made your man, Zinedine Salzburg, look like crap last season and everyone was criticising him.
I can't forgive him for that.
I know, the stupid git. Do you know what, though? We've got a lot of players coming back in the summer. We'll have to rip up a lot of contracts.
Yeah.
Not many of those clubs where they're at the moment want them. And Joe Rodon's bombing.
Or even some of the players we have right now, Ellie.
Yeah. Anyway, they're all spent forces. We don't want them back anyway. It's just a matter of giving some money towards our transfer budget.
I tell you, Sugar Peppers was talking about motivation. What would motivate a player more than cutting off his wages, income, and everything else? You know, that's what I would say, Sugar Peppers. Cut the contracts, motivation.
Yeah, cut them off. Yeah.
Tell us what this new channel is about, my dear.
Yeah, so it's well, it's not new, but it's under a new title, Queen Ellie's Spurs Ladies Channel. I know it's a bit of a windfall. Maybe I'll make it shorter. But I just done a little trial run today just to give the thoughts on the Spurs Man United ladies game, which I attended. And I'll get better at it because I've got to do the technical side of things as well and get some graphics in. But I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do a player ratings one as well, from 1 to 11, both teams. Because I don't think many people do the other team, do they, at the moment? They just do our team. But I'm going to try see how it goes. I've got quite a few good comments so far about it. Yeah, so everybody get over there and subscribe. I'll appreciate your support, and I'll be putting out a lot of good Spurs content on the ladies' side. And also, you can check out my Twitter page as well, because I'm on Queen Ellie Hoybier, Spurs Ladies Show. So,
if you wanted to shorten it, you could put Queen Ellie Winks, Ellie, huh?
No, I don't think so. No, not if I don't want. If I want to suicide myself, yeah. No, but at the end of the day, it's all about the ladies' game. Because the ladies' game is getting bigger, as you know. England won the Euros. Ireland have qualified for the World Cup. Your ladies' team. So we're going to be following that as well.
Stadium. That Ireland-Australia game in the World Cup was moved to a bigger stadium, which is a good sign.
It's very good, isn't it? Yeah. Do you know what? And there's been a lot of big attendances in the ladies' game this season. I don't know if you know this, but there was over 47,000 to watch Arsenal play Spurs.
Wow.
All right. They trounced us 4-0, but it doesn't matter. The result, the actual event was fantastically run by the Arsenal. I don't like to give them too much credit, so I'll stop there. Right, you know what? Our manager on the ladies' side, she's trying her best because she's got a good set of players now. We've got Bethany England up front. Yep. We've got a loanee from Arsenal called Iwabuchi, who's a very tricky customer, very skillful. And
didn't Nas sign a new contract too?
Yeah. Nas is a very, very good player, and she's one of our own. So you know, we've got to build a few more in there, like maybe midfield and one more striker. Early doors, we lost Ellie Brazil, our new striker from Brighton. She got injured, ACL injury at Man City, so that was a shame. Yeah, it was a big shame because she was a big loss. But now we've got Bethany England, who's a fabulous striker. Check out her goal versus Man United. It's absolutely a stunner.
Yeah.
Brilliant
Love
goal.
the passion. Love the passion when it comes to the women's game. So everybody,
honestly, great plug right there, everybody. Go follow Ellie. Yeah. Exactly how she described it. Makes you want to. Just makes you want to follow her over and listen and get the analysis and the recaps. At the end of the day,
it's football. Yeah, it's football. Right. We all love football, don't we? So any football is good by me.
And we have your Twitter down there as well, Ellie. Is
thank you very much. Thank you, lads.
Well, Ellie,
see you soon.
Thank you very much. You go off and have some what's it called? Slovakia or something like that. Greek kebab.
That's what I'm going to do for my husband tonight. Lovely. When you come over, we'll have some too. And a curry to boot.
I'm holding you to that, by the way. I'm holding you to that. So
yeah, I will do. Don't you worry.
Many a curries. Many a curries.
You see take care, boys. Ellie. And up the Spurs.
Come
on, you Spurs.
Bye-bye.
Come on, you Spurs. Bye-bye. Love that. See you, Ellie. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Do you know what? Great appearance. Great to see Ellie on Friday. You're looking very professional, I must say. She's up in her game. She's taking it to a new level. Green screen. She's all over it. She's all
looking
over
better
it.
than us. She's looking good. Exactly right, Dave. Exactly right.
Right.
Well, let me see what else we have in the chat here. Let me see what else we have in the queue here. I believe it's KPV time. And KPV, my apologies. Yellow card from myself, KPV. You're welcome to give it to me. It's my fault. You were kept waiting.
Also, yellow card if you mention the Lanzini goal as well. I don't want to hear it. I've seen you on We're Talking TV earlier.
I don't care, Dave, all right? Because the Premier League YouTube channel was the one I watched it on, and they just posted it. So, I don't care. I'm not. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't happen on Sunday, because hopefully it doesn't. Because West Ham tweeted it last season on that day. so I don't want to see it again. The reason why it happens is because Mourinho took Sonny. That's why it happened. You do not take.
It happened because Winks pussied out.
Well, yeah, I blame Harry Winkerbell for that.
Well, look, KPV, where are we at? There's a lot of talk about Stellini ball lately. You know, Conte out, this, that, and the other. Where are we at with it all, KPV?
Like, I don't really like it. Like, I saw on Twitter last word on Spurs said that Conte's leaving, and it looks like Poch is coming back. Like, I don't know if that's true or not, but I asked Danny in the WhatsApp group, but he said he doesn't know. But
you should ask somebody who does a lot of golfing. I feel like KPV. That's the person you should know, because then you can get the inside scoop, because he's doing a lot of golfing.
Ollie Freeman. Did you say Ollie Freeman?
No, I said Pochettino's doing a lot of golfing, so you need to find somebody who's doing golfing, KPV.
But
Ollie Freeman's a jabroni, isn't he, KPV?
What's that?
Ollie Freeman's a jabroni.
Ollie Freeman's a jabroni, is he? I can see what you're saying. But
bubble blowers this weekend, though, KPV. I mean, it is a derby at the end of the day, KPV.
Yeah, it's a derby.
Do you like the bubble blowers, or do you have a real disdain for the bubble blowers?
I don't like them. I don't like those people because I hate West Ham, but I hate Arsenal more than I hate West Ham. But I hate both of them. So.
Is this the cup final this weekend, do you think, KPV? It's been a pretty bad season for them as well, right? So probably
it's been a bad season for those jabronis. Like, yeah, they got lucky in a 1-1 draw in August, like, because of the error from, I think, Donald Kane gave the ball away, but they're coming to our house, like, we're unbeaten there in the last few games there, but yeah, we're going to win tomorrow on Sunday, and like we did last season, we won 3-1, but I want a clean sheet. Like, yeah, I want to win. And then we got Chelsea, who are doing absolutely atrocious.
2 big London derbies at home, KPV. I mean, a lot of pressure then probably, right? On the players, on Conte. They do really need to perform because it's going to be in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, we need to win those 2 London derbies. Like, I know people are calling for Stellini ball, like, that's not like Conte ball or Poch ball or Mourinho or whatever, or Nuno ball. Like, nah, like, we've not lost 2 games while he's been covering for Conte. Like, we've not lost, but let's make that 3 we don't lose on Sunday. And then the Chelsea game, I don't know if he'll be back for it, but at home, he's looking for revenge against Chelsea after we beat him when he was their manager, but he wants revenge against them. But let's beat the spammers and then beat them lot who lost to Dortmund next week. So
what do you make of the AC Milan performance, KPV? And the reason I'm asking you is because I feel like Højbjerg needs a partner. He needs a new partner in midfield. Are you going to say Skippy, Papa Matasar? I mean, how much do you like Papa Matasar? Papa Musar Dembele. I know you want to say it, KP.
Yeah, Papa Matasar Musar Dembele. I was impressed. Yeah.
What impressed you about him? What made him look so good, do you think?
Tackles and blocks, and I think passing impressed me, and Skip. And
Skip worked hard too as well. Skip worked very hard.
Yeah, Skip also, they impressed me. Those 2 are masterclass. They put on a masterclass against AC Milan, and let's hope they can do it on the 8th of March, which I'll be coming, and I'll be seeing you there, Jack and Dave.
Let's go, KPV.
Jack said he wants you to greet him with a Stone Cold Stunner.
That's what I need to give Ben, because
he doesn't even want you to say hi. He just wants you to walk up and give him a stunner.
Ben's gonna get one as well, and so Ben's gonna get one, and so Ben and Sim will be getting a stunner. Like, I'm still gonna give Ben a stunner because that's what's gonna happen when I see those 2 jabronis there. So. It's gonna
do you back us, KPV, after that result? Are we going to be, are we going to be singing, are we going to be, even the atmosphere, KPV, like they're gonna need the fans. They're gonna need us on that night, won't they?
Yeah, they're gonna need us on that night because we need the crowd behind us, and yeah, get behind the lad. It's going to be walking. We're only a goal down, so yeah, we can get an early goal because away goals don't count, which is a good thing. Got rid of it, and it doesn't count. So we can get an early goal and then score a couple more. Then we're through. We'll be in a draw, like for the quarter finals. Like we need a home leg and a first leg, which would be nice. And who do people want? I want City because we'll do them over again, like we always do. And if people already saw Llorente's announced his retirement, Fernando, what is your favourite Llorente goal, people in the chat?
Good question.
The one that should have been disallowed against Man City in the Champions League.
It came off his leg, David. Don't you start.
Yeah, Dave. What are you talking about, Dave?
Come on,
get your
Dave.
back straight. KPV's got to get his back straight.
I watched it. I was at home for Easter, and yeah, Ben and Tim have got their title on the match day vlog wrong. They thought it was Toby, but it was Llorente. Came off his knee, not his arm. So the referee gave the goal, and because if we'd lost, then we wouldn't go through to the semis. So
I do miss Llorente because he was great to just get it launched to kitchen sink time.
It was injured, him and Son were scoring the goals against Watford, and then on our way to the final, like Llorente should have started in the final, and which I agree because Harry Classo was not 100% fit. Like Lucas got us there, and not Classo, but bad decision by Poch starting Kane ahead of Lucas. Bad decision, but
hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Believe we can turn it around in the second leg and go all the way because I want to win it. If I just don't want Liverpool winning it, but revenge is what we want from that 2019 final. So, but let's be honest, they can't beat Real Madrid. We can. I wouldn't mind them in the quarters, but Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but whoever you want, people, let us know who you think will get in the draw once we've done Milan over. And let us know who you want, people.
Love it. KPV, you better go up. There's some hammers incoming.
Dick, Turpin, get off the channel. You're getting spanked, kid. You're not winning Sunday.
You gotta dodge the hammers he's throwing, KPV.
Yeah, we're winning.
And you gotta wear some goggles at the game in case you get any soap in your eyes from the bubbles.
Yeah,
they're like them guys out in the Mario game. Do you know the turtles that throw the hammers? That's what they're like.
And yeah, this is our cup final.
No, it's their cup final, KPV. It's their cup final, not ours.
Yeah, it's their cup final. Well, yeah, they're getting spanked on Sunday, and yeah, they still got. Goal scorers obviously got to be Kane and Son. They love scoring against the spammers. And yeah, we're going to win Sunday and then smack Chelsea up at home because we need to end that Chelsea hoodoo. We haven't beaten them since 2018. So can we end that hoodoo again like we've done in 2006? Let's end it and beat them at home in N17 for the first time since 2017 when we won 2-0, and people know who got 2 goals in that game, so he's not here anymore anyway. People already know who that player was. Assist by Emerson, 2 assists, and so we can get the win on Sunday. And have we got Chelsea Tuesday or Wednesday?
Is it
Chelsea? It's next weekend.
Oh, Sunday is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you have all week to get your ultimate team together, KPV. All week, my man.
I've got my ultimate team all set, and I've just got in from Højbjerg off the transfer market.
I bought him last night, Zinedine Salzburg. I got him a bet.
And I've got Kulu, but I need to get the special Kane card and the Son card. And so I need to get a couple of special cards and you're getting spanked, David. But Sunday, people.
You know what, KPV? I'm sick of you telling me I'm going to get spanked. This week, I should have some time on my hands. We're going to get it sorted once and for all, my man. I'm laying down the gauntlet. KP spanking incoming. But my man, we've got to keep this show moving.
Yeah.
Keep on keeping all the Spurs fans happy and putting a smile on our faces, my man.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna sign out. Like, enjoy the game Sunday, people, and then we go again next Sunday against Chelsea before Wolves away. Because if we can start this good one, win 3 consecutive games on a bounce, and before the Milan game would be nice. And obviously, I'm off to play FIFA and get ready for tonight, because tomorrow night, people, Elimination Chamber in Montreal, Canada, Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns for the title, and it's Canada, people. So enjoy the game on Sunday, and we're gonna win. Then we got Chelsea, Wolves, and Milan, and that. So,
and as always, KPV,
and as
sign us
always, Levy out. If you don't know, get to know KPV.
Love it, my brother. Love it, KPV. You always put a smile on mine and everyone's faces. Never ever change. You are awesome, and we will see you again soon.
Yeah, no, see you soon. Yeah,
Get
man.
KPV.
Yeah, man.
Get you.
You
you don't know, get to know.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Absolutely.
Box office is going to be mad about that KPV and box office are going to have a battle, for the tagline. Pick yourself up, KPV.
I have a sneaky suspicion Jack's not even going to get a high off KPV at the Milan game. He's just going to come up knee to the nuts. Stone Cold Stunner.
Honestly, I'd take that instead of KPV's RKO. I'd rather have that instead of the RKO. But let me figure out who's up next in the chat, everybody. I believe it's Michael.
Michael, let's get him on.
Bring
Big
him
Mick. How you keeping, my man?
That's me.
How you keeping, brother?
Yeah, everything fine. Enjoying my free time before the last semester starts at uni.
Did you get all your exams done?
Sorry.
Did you get all your exams done?
Yeah. All of them done. I have my master thesis, topic. Everything is great.
Congratulations, my man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, look, where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about the West Ham game? Do you want to talk about other issues going on at the club? Where do you want to kick this off?
Yes, it's never a quiet day with this club, honestly.
Well, yesterday was quiet, to be fair.
Yeah, but especially recently, I think whenever you think everything is quiet and and everything is peaceful, then suddenly another bombshell, and it's sometimes hard to keep track with it all. By the way, I expected that we will price out the potential buyers regarding that financial takeover, right? I expected that Levy and Tinik will price them out, because I actually understand when people say that they don't really have a reason to sell right now. So unless they get an offer that they cannot really refuse, then why would they sell, right?
Let me ask you that, Michael. What reason? What would make them sell, in your opinion? What would be the reasons that would make them sell? Because you said they've got no reason. So what do you think would make them sell?
Either enough money, they have their evaluation of the club probably, right? So whether they think that the club is worth X amount, right? But they also, I think, have some predictions in the future how much money they can make off of other investments, and etc. So basically someone would have to offer them enough money for them to actually think that it's worth to sell, rather than keep the club and keep making money, right? So let's just for argument's sake, let's say that they value the club at 3.5 billion, let's say, but they think they can, I don't know, earn another billion over 15 years or whatever, right? Just example numbers, right? So if somebody offered them 4.5 or 5 to offset the money that they won't make over the next period, then I think maybe they would sell, because as been stated plenty of times, they never bought this club out of love, out of passion for football. It's been finances, right? So you have to look at it financially, right? If it if it is worth it for them, that they would sell, in my opinion, right? But if somebody comes with a 3 billion bid and they value the club higher, and also like they see the potential revenue that they might grab off of the club, then they won't sell, right?
I think for me, Michael, it needs to be kind of like almost like F you, kind of money. Like it needs to be just like an offer you can't refuse. Like it's almost like
does anybody have that?
I'm offering you this much money. If you refuse it, it's almost like I'll see you in court, kind of money, where it's just like you have to accept it. It's an offer you can't refuse. Well, it's hard, but that's what I'm just saying. I just think that's what it will take. But then also, actually, we were discussing.
Have that FU money.
I don't think that guy does. I don't think this Phoenix guy does.
No.
I think somebody out there might have that. There are people out there who do have that money. But what I would say is, Michael and Dave, like, I feel like another thing is that there are a bunch of clubs out there who offer a much lower price. And the reason Spurs' price is so high is also because of the property and the real estate and all of the revenue streams that Spurs have that no other club has. And it feels like any buyer has to be interested in that, and they have to want that, because if they weren't interested in that, wouldn't they just go to another club that's offering for like a cheaper price and doesn't have all that other stuff, like, to deal with, and all those other extra costs and everything? Whereas the person who is going to buy Spurs and buy Enoch and Levy outright is going to probably need to be pretty interested in all that kind of stuff, you would think. They're not just going to be like a Newcastle where they're kind of just interested in making a really good football team, for Newcastle. Like it's going to be, people that are also going to be interested, I think, in that property and revenue stream.
Does the club have to sell the both of them together, though? Can they not sell the club and keep the right?
That's an interesting question.
Because I know there's planning permission to build stuff that comes with it. I'm just wondering, can they sell the club and still keep that if that's what they want?
And they sell their footballing revenues, maybe, like some of their.
Or is it a part of the deal that has to come with the club because it's stuff they had to do because of the stadium, being allowed to build the stadium? It'd be very interesting to know that.
Like with what you asked about, David, I think then you would have to find a billionaire who is interested in football, right? And there is not many of them, right? And like the issue I raise with selling Tottenham, right, is if you are solely interested in football, right, and you want to you are a billionaire, you want to have your own plate, or your own perfect team, that wins Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, whatever, right? Then why would you buy Spurs if you can buy United or Liverpool for similar price, right? Because like the prices that been going around for Liverpool and United were in a similar price range than those of Tottenham, right?
I think United have big problems though, Michael. You look at their stadium, there's leaks in the roof. Their training complex is so far outdated. Like United comes with big problems. When they buy Tottenham, they've got all that, but they can also charge people for the skywalk. They can charge people, for the concerts, the NFL, the rugby, all this, like Jack was saying, all the extra revenue streams that other clubs don't have. And that's what I think makes Tottenham more attractive than someone like United. Liverpool, you've also got, they also need to look to build a bigger stadium, but they're having problems with that, and they're trying to have to build it where Anfield actually is, and it's not easy.
Yeah, but what I meant is that, like, if you are a sheikh, like like the guys owning PSG or City or whatever, right? Then you don't really care about the money that you have to spend, right? Those guys are so rich that they won't really, like, it won't bother them that they have to spend like some amount of money to renew the stadium or whatever, right? All they need is a name, and they want to like make a name for themselves, right? So I think in that case you buy United or Liverpool, right? If you are a billionaire who is interested in the financial side, then yes, then I think Tottenham is a really good like product, right? But the issue I see is, first of all, like the price is so high that it even may price out some of the billionaires out there that would be willing to buy the club, right? But also I feel like from our point of view as fans, you also run a bit of a risk of like getting another Daniel Levy and Enoch, basically. If they are so interested in the financial side of the club, and the housing, cinemas, pools, golf course, and all that stuff, then you run a bit of a risk of like switching a devil for another devil, right? So Yeah, but maybe change the topic, because that's one on a downbeat. You have Hammers.
Look, it's a rabbit hole we could go into for a 24-hour stream if we wanted to, Michael. Look, what other subjects do you want to talk about? Like, we've got the West Ham game. We've got maybe a bit going on with Conte and his health at the minute. Conte needs time out, but many people are maybe predicting that his time is coming to an end.
Yeah, it's a really strange feeling with Conte. You know my feelings on Conte, right? I am all for him like staying and leading this rebuild, and I have faith in the guy that when he gets the players that he wants for the system that he plays, that this system is actually capable of winning like a lot of games, winning like major honors, right? I think the issue is that it won't really work with our club, with our ownership, with our fan base even, right? Because we are in this strange place where we kind of demand the change and we demand trophies, but we also don't want to like be bothered with football that can lead you to winning trophies. And right now also the counter argument is that majority of the teams that win major honors play like more expansive football, whatever, right? But the football that Conte and Mourinho played, it wins trophies, right? The proof is in the pudding. You can see that it wins, right? If they get players that they want. The issue is, again, I don't think like all four parties, the state of our team, what manager wants, what our ownership wants, and what our fans want. I don't think that they all like cross at a single point, right? It's not like you can develop a system which will satisfy the needs for all of those four parties, right? So that's why, again, I really like Conte. I like his play style if it works, right? I don't like watching us getting slapped 4-1 by Leicester, right? But that's not how the system is supposed to work, right? But when it works, it's really nice to watch. But I don't think he will stay here, and it kind of hurts me to say that, because I kind of hoped that we would convince the guy to stay, that we would, like, for once in our like 2-decade or 3-decade history in the Premier League, we would make the right choice and stick with the guy and back him and do that all that stuff. But as I said, I don't think that's what our club necessarily wants. And yeah, like, of course, I like with his personal stuff right now, I wish him like all the best. I wish him all like health, etc, etc. I think I subscribe to like what someone said, that he probably shouldn't have returned so fast. He should have taken his time off to recover fully, because that's not an easy operation.
The notion that he doesn't want to be here, though. Some people say he doesn't want to be here, but the fact, if he didn't want to be here, right, he wouldn't have returned early. He would have took the full 4 to 8 weeks off. So the fact that he returns early probably shows he's hungry, right?
I think he wants to be here, right? It's just that he's a man that needs assurances and needs to be shown that he 100%. Can do something, right? I think he really likes our players, right? Even the ones that we don't like, right? You get used to you get used to, and you start liking like people you spend so much time with, right? Otherwise you are miserable, right? But in that case, he probably would have stayed longer in Italy. But I think he wants to do well with this club. I think if we offered him the chance, he would stay here. He would develop this squad. He would oversee that rebuild, right? The issue is that I don't think that our ownership and him will work, right? Because of the differences in priorities. I even think that he would be open to like developing more young players, right? Because if he was really so hell bent on bringing in youngsters, then he would have like kicked up the fuss about us bringing like young players in the summer or in the winter, right? So I think if you bring in players like Kulusevski, Bentancur, those type of players who are young in a footballing like perspective, but are also experienced, I don't think he minds, right? I think he would be like really glad to work with Porro, right? The issue is that even in that case, if you want to bring youngsters, you have to spend a lot of money and scout really, really well, right? So I think it's 3 years he was at Juve. 3
think
years, I think,
Juventus
right?
is the longest he's stayed in a job, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Juventus.
Because I think he had like when he started like his career at big clubs, I think he did like 2 or 3 years at Juventus. Then he had the Italy job.
I imagine, if
Juventus
I'm not
again, right?
mistaken, I believe Juventus was his first like big job. Actually,
Yeah,
I
big
think
because he was at some smaller Italian club. I don't remember.
I think he started
which
out
one.
with like a Serie like D
Serie
or like a
B
City
or
like B side or like something like that, and then he moved
wait,
on to like
I will check
he
quickly.
might have
Just
even
give me a
been like a
second.
Monza manager at one stage or like something like that. The bottom dude, if he
I'm
was
checking.
listening, of course, would have the answer right away.
I'm checking. Okay, so he was a coach at Arezzo for 2 years. Then he was at Bari. Then he was
Yeah,
at
Bari.
Atalanta. I don't know what this club is. Then he was at Siena.
Not the
And
Atalanta and the Serie A.
it was because it said Atalanta BC. I don't know what BC
I
stands
think that
for.
might be if
Oh no,
that
no,
is.
it's this Atalanta, right? Then he
Okay,
was at
so maybe
Siena.
Atalanta
Then,
would be his first big job. You would say Atalanta was his first big job. And to be fair, Atalanta is kind of like that club where, you know, a lot of young up and coming managers do kind of go to sort of kind of progress further from there. It is where like, you know, good managers kind of, you know, develop a bit further. It's hard to find like maybe a Premier League comparison maybe for that. I'm trying to think of one. But Atalanta is a big club, but he's moved from there. I'm not sure though if Atalanta is that the longest where he stayed.
No. He was like only. Oh, okay. He was Atalanta's manager for 13 games. Then he was Siena's manager for 44. Then I don't know why it's split, but it says Juventus Turin twice on Transfermarkt, and it's like 129
I think he did have
games.
2 separate spells at Juventus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He might have had 2 separate spells. Yeah.
From what I see, the longest he's been at the club was Juventus, 129 games, but over two spells, right? There was some sort of a break in between for half a year or something, right? So, yeah, that's it basically.
There you are. Well, Michael, random last question for me, and I know completely off topic, but I mean, scoreline, score predictions. How's this game going to go this weekend?
Oh, hammers. Listen, it's that strange of a game. I think like based on like recent performances, I don't think we can be as calm as we normally would be. Like last season when we played them at our ground, I think there was like no doubt in my mind that we'll win. It was the 3-1 win against them, right, in March, I think, or something like this. I was so confident back then, but right now they are playing really bad, but their last like 3 results are actually kind of respectable considering the opposition, even though like Newcastle aren't doing as well as they've been doing recently, and Chelsea are Chelsea of this season, right? But I think this game won't be as easy as it often is. But I think we will have enough. Like, listen, those players of our team, they know that they've been letting fans down recently with performances like Leicester and even to an extent AC Milan, right? So I expect some sort of a solid performance, but it won't be like a 3-0 slapping or whatever, right? I think we will win like 1-0 or 2-1, in my opinion. I would really like to see Porro, and I know that some people are considering whether he's bad or not in defensively. But listen, he got rinsed by Barnes, and if he gets rinsed by Lanzini or whoever is on the left of West Ham recently, then some questions maybe need to be like raised. But I think you should be giving this guy a chance, especially against a team like West Ham, who like to sit deep. That's apparently what he brought him for, right? Because he's really good at crossing, dribbling, all that stuff. So Leicester is a dynamic, pacey team, right? They don't sit back and in a 5-man wall and block the box, right? They like to play on an offensive. I think against a team like West Ham, he will be useful. And I will say
I
the
think he'll
same
be
thing
on the
against.
ball a whole lot more. I think he'll be
Yeah,
on the ball a whole lot more.
and
I
the-
agree with you.
Yeah,
I
and
hope
the
so.
same thing with AC Milan, in my opinion. I also think that he should start that game. So yeah, I'm really hopeful to see him. And I know
Okay.
you've raised a lot of points about like Sonny and Richie. I don't know if you have time to talk about it.
I don't.
Or
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Work
okay,
away.
okay. So like, it's a really tough topic for me because I do understand the points about Kulu and Son playing like bad recently. I would honestly throw Kane into it as well, because I think past 2 games of Kane have been like the tactics that the opposition team like implemented to stop him were really good. So maybe that's why he wasn't looking as good as he normally is, right? But I think because of like when our wingers don't work properly, right? All the opposition team has to do is focus on Kane, right? And then he looks bad in the process, right? So somebody needs to step the fuck up, because like, come on, guys, we need to start scoring goals, because we always say that defense is our
But who
bane.
do
And
we have to step up, though, Michael?
Yeah,
This is the big question.
But this is
Kulusevski was even off the boil, the other game as well, which doesn't make our problems any easier, and that's the other thing too. You would rather it just be one guy that's off the boil, but the last few games, the whole attack has been kind of dead.
All 3 of them have been kind of bad recently, right? So, like, my issue is that we can like swap things around, right? But I think that if you consider swapping Son and Kulu, the issue is that like the first name that comes to mind is swapping Son for Richarlison, right? But I don't think that's Richie's position. I think we should play him in the middle, right? But you won't drop Kane because he's the one scoring all the goals, right? So you begin by misplacing a player immediately, right? Richie should either be playing in a 2 up top or as a single player up top, right? Then, like, if you want to swap Son for Danjuma, like many people aren't convinced by Danjuma at all, right? So do you really want to risk Son dropping another stinker, or Danjuma dropping a stinker and Son not being on the pitch for so long, right? Then you can argue maybe
But
Son
isn't
should
there
go
more of a
out.
chance of Sonny still playing if Danjuma starts, where it's like Sonny will probably be brought off the bench, like no matter what. He's that kind of guy too that they will bring him on, I feel like. Whereas Danjuma, not so much. Like he's unlikely to be brought off the bench, you feel like.
Yeah, but then someone at our coaching staff should like show some balls and actually say, listen, Son, you are dropping to the bench and you are coming on at 60th minute, right? The issue is that like when it's another way around, Danjuma comes on for like 7 minutes in the game, which is basically pointless, right? And we don't really do the other way, which is like Danjuma on and Son getting subbed on in the 60th minute, right? So I think we should change something in that attack, right? So in my opinion, like there is plenty of things we can do. I would also consider starting with our standard like front 3 and bringing on Danjuma or Richarlison for Perisic, because I think you need to start giving Perisic some break, because he's 34 years old and he has to play every single game, right? On the left wing back. And basically when you do that, when you switch Danjuma or Richarlison for Perisic, you switch to a 4-2-4, but that's risky with our defense. But listen, I don't think we can like whine right now. We have so many injuries that you have to offset the issues that you have with the team, right? Perisic will be an issue just because of his age. So I think we will see both Richarlison and Danjuma, in my opinion, against West Ham. Sorry. Against West Ham. Whether they will start, I'm not really sure. I actually wish they did, one of them did. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Danjuma or Richarlison. I would prefer Danjuma on the left, even though I think Richarlison is a better player. But on the left wing, I think that's Danjuma's.
For what we're looking for as a winger,
this
I think
is his position, right? This
Mm.
is his position. This is Danjuma's position. So
you.
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing like Danjuma, Kane, and Kulusevski. Give Kulusevski one more chance, because it's not like he's been dropping stinkers for the whole season. So I don't really mind
with that
a player having like 2 bad games. But give Danjuma or Richarlison a chance, I would prefer Danjuma, right?
I agree
and
with
then
that.
maybe if the game isn't going well, then switch to a 4-2-4 and bring Richarlison on for Perisic, for example. That would be my solution to the
solution.
To
Well, look,
our
at least
issues,
at least you're coming with solutions. At least you're not just sitting there going, "Run out of the team," because it's easy just to say get this person out of the team, but you do got to try and maybe have solutions around it as well, Michael.
Yeah.
Big yourself up, my man. Really
Big up, guys.
the time.
Thank you for your patience too, Michael.
Hopefully we
No
get
worries,
the win this weekend, and we'll speak to you on Monday.
Yeah, speak to you on Monday, guys. See you.
See you, dude.
See you then, man.
Bye.
Bye,
bro.
Big up. Good phone call by Michael. I like the fact that he does come with the solutions. It's not just get him out of the team. He has ideas and solutions around
it's almost like he comes down with like this blue, like they do for buildings, Dave, the big like blueprint, he's just like brings out the ruler and the pencil. He's like, so let's get to the bottom of this, guys. Let's get to the foundations of this here. That's what he seems to do. It feels like. Let me check in on who is next here. Daniel or wait a minute, no. Yeah, Mr. Larson. Mr. Larson. Yes, it is.
Daniel, you there, brother?
Daniel, show your camera if you're there, Mr. Hoiberg.
Yeah, turned it off. Turned off. Yeah, new anyway.
Oh, take him in, Dave. Bring him in here.
Give me two seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Okay. Do you want us to go ahead with Wes and then come back to you, or?
Yeah, you can go with another one first. That's fine.
Okay.
No worries.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know.
No. You're all good.
So it's Wes and then it's you, Daniel. You're the last one. All right, brother? Big up. Right, so let's get on. Wes, I haven't spoke to Wes in quite some time. Wes, how are you keeping?
What is up, guys?
How are we?
Oh, man, school is interesting. That's all I say. School is interesting.
You're to take your mind off of things?
Yeah, I've been trying to get on, trying to find time. And every time there's like a fan show, either I have class in the middle of it because, we don't have some like early time games recently. So that's interfering.
And you got like 45 minutes and then, you only have that little, window of time. I know how it is. But we appreciate your patience. I know you've been waiting a while as well. So I appreciate your patience.
It's fun. It's fun hearing everybody's reactions of what's going on right now, especially after the Milan game. So yeah.
So what is it? Maybe what reactions maybe are you interested in talking about? Like what is it maybe that you want to talk about first?
Everything. We got the billionaire, we got the Phoenix Suns owner who's trying to act like he's going to try to buy the club.
On the billionaire conversation, yeah. What did you make of the fact that I kind of said it feels like if any person is going to come in and buy Enoch and Levy outright, they are going to probably be interested in all that extra revenue streams and all the property and all that stuff. They're not going to be, like I said, some of the teams that have been bought out just to be successful, kind of like on the football side of things. Like the next person that buys us is going to want to be interested in all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. And I think that's actually that's more of a good thing because if they buy like a smaller team that's cheaper, yes, they're buying the clubs cheaper. They're not going to have the hassle of spending $3 billion, $4 billion on a club, but they're not going to have the they're not going to have the revenue streams coming in. They're going to have to find a way to get the revenue to come in to actually make a profit off of that club or make some type of money off that club in some form to keep it sustainable. But the good thing about us, with our club, we have pretty much everything set up with, yes, the initial amount is going to be $3 or $4 billion that you lose out of your pocket, but the revenue that you're going to get and the profit you're going to get for having our club is going to be way better than getting a smaller club and buying them, and that's the good draw at the end of the day. I think you have to look at the positive of that. But
do you see Americans being more likely to be interested in, kind of what we have here at Spurs regarding like
American billionaires?
It does kind of sound like a thing like we would kind of, buy. Like I think Americans would be kind of interested in the property. And the NFL. Let's be honest, the NFL and stuff is already there.
Yeah, that's definitely our situation is a lot more their style. To be honest with you, I know that's not going to be. A lot of people don't want American billionaires to take control of the club because we started with Manchester United, Liverpool. I think is Liverpool one. I think.
They're Fenway.
Yeah.
They're on their Fenway.
So I understand that, but at the end of the day, there's only so many people in the world that has that kind of money to spend on a football like that.
Especially if it is 4.5 billion or whatever it is. Like I think it's 4.5 billion is probably like the one where they'll be like, you know what, that's kind of like, you know, our estimate, well above what we expected. We might take that one. I feel like, what do you think, Wes? It would be more likely it's like some, like they put a consortium of investors.
It's going to have to be
instead of like just one dude, you know, with 4.5 billion burning a hole in his pocket.
Unless Jeff Bezos come out the blue sky and say, "Hey, I want to buy a football club for no reason." That's the only dude I can say can just going to drop $4 billion on a club.
Maybe
you know,
Elon sells a few rockets.
Yeah, maybe Elon Musk, which I don't see. He's more into science and stuff like that. So I don't, you know, that's the only. Jeff Bezos is really the only one I can see. Like, oh, I can, you know, trying to go into sports maybe as something that he may want to do. I don't know. I don't even know if he's a fan of any sport. He looks like kind of that guy that doesn't really do too much of that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's the only kind of person I see. Or of course, the Middle Eastern type of people, maybe Asian type of investment, maybe be interested in that kind of stuff. But it's going to definitely take like a group ownership to take over, because especially with the asking price that Daniel Levy and Enoch is going to be asking for.
Because that's the thing, like that's just for buying the club outright. Then you still got to invest in the players. You still got to invest in all this stuff. It's like it's a heavy.
With the way the club is set up though, with the multiple revenue streams coming in, this, that, and the other, like it wouldn't be too far beyond the realms of possibility of getting the likes of, you know, the celebrity Spurs fans, you know, all the consortium together and buy the club. You've got Adele, you've got AJ Tracy, I believe.
Wasn't he Todd?
And there's a couple of actors, you know,
a couple of actors,
Spurs fans, and that as well. So, you know, it wouldn't be on the realms of possibility for them, because if you could get someone that follows Spurs to take it over, they've got the multiple revenue streams coming in, and they would be able to make a right go of it. Plus, have the enthusiasm to make sure Spurs are successful. It'd be a win.
At the end of the day, though, those guys are like millionaires, and
they're more millionaires.
Billionaires, what it really.
We don't got not one. Yeah, we don't got really a billionaire person that used to be like that's a fan of Spurs. Yeah, most of them are millionaires, which, you know, it's just not enough. But the way the climate is of spending, until we get to that 70% thing that's supposed to happen in like 3-4 years, you know, that's probably been when it's maybe a couple millionaires would probably go into the ownership group, maybe not take a huge percentage, but probably just be a part of the ownership. That would be, of course, possible. But right now, you know, with the climate is right now, where way spending is with the likes of the bigger clubs spending too much on, like, you know, you got Real Madrid spending millions on a 17-year-old, you know, that's just going to up the prices on everybody for no reason. And that's to me the big problem when it comes to like why we can't get players in, why Levy's so hesitant on bringing players in, because, you know, the prices just keep increasing because of other bigger clubs spending money and on talent that are not really, you know, a couple of years ago would not be seen as that much money, you know. Or the money that's spent now just to get a decent, good player is crazy. You know, you got to spend at least 40-50 on one player to get somebody decent, you know, or somebody worth.
I think what always happens too, Wes, is there's always these players that then inflate the market as well.
Yeah.
There's like Neymar. When Neymar went for 300 million, that inflated the market. When Mudryk just went for like 100 million, that inflated the market, I think, a bit too. That seems to happen, which doesn't make our chances, you know, or doesn't make our job any easier, but I don't want to give them too many excuses. Do you want to talk about AC Milan though, maybe, and leading that into the West Ham game after that?
Yeah, the Milan game is interesting. It's like we didn't give up that first goal, that crazy, stupid goal. You know, maybe that would have ended up at least a draw, like 0-0, you know, but we didn't. I hated that we didn't put Porro on. I understand where he did decently. You know, he played defense. It wasn't really, the goal wasn't his fault at all. That's more Romero. I'm kind of getting sick of how Romero was tackling. His tackling has been kind of, you know, he'll get himself in trouble for no reason. I can't wait till we get defenders, because it's clear that's like the biggest problem for us right now. It's just defenders.
On Romero's tackling, Wes.
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of this, but look what happened against Leicester when Romero wasn't there. Nobody tackled.
Yeah, nobody tackled. Yeah, that's true. That's true too. But I mean, he just gets. I'm fine with him tackling. Like, you know, he playing the way he's playing. You know, they got him there. You know, this is why he's here. It's just of how he's been playing, and that's just his style. But it's just that sometimes I feel like it can get him in trouble a little bit too early, especially with referees who really don't know how to blow the whistle, or don't know what a foul is and what's not a foul, or what's a yellow card. Yeah. he has to. I think he has to do a little bit of his homework. I know there's probably ways he can find out about referees and see how they usually call the game, and then he can go accordingly. If he does that, I think he'll be fine. If he does a little bit extra homework on what kind of referee is managing the game, because if he just goes in, sliding like he usually does, that could be sometimes with a certain ref, that can be a straight red for certain refs, and that can. He's not going to be doing us any favors with him being off the field and us being down 10 men.
I agree with that, right? And it's only sort of been highlighted since he got the red card against Man City. But everyone, was worried about when he came here. Realistically, I think he's got, 2 red cards over the course of his Tottenham career?
Yeah, about 2.
The thing is, when you look at Romero, what we've got to understand is Romero clatters his guy early so that he doesn't want to know. And
that was his first red card. I think he's never had another. I don't think he's ever had another red card.
Yeah, it was like 2. It was 2 yellows that turned to red. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at the end
of the day, that's decent.
The guy, I've watched it time and time again. He absolutely mutilated Haaland. Didn't want to know for the rest of the game. He done it against Mikel Antonio last season. Done it against St. Maximum last season.
Yeah,
so as much as we're worried about it, there's so much more benefits to it as well.
Yeah, and that's just something I'm just for some reason I've seen the last couple of games when he has played that he's getting a little bit of trouble with certain refs who are quick to just throw out the yellow card for no reason. Like the Milan dude, he was just throwing out yellow cards against us for fun for I don't know what reason. So any kind of tackle we would do would be something. I think that happened the last game as well. In just the Premier League game, it seemed like we wasn't having no fouls go our way. I think. For him, I know there's probably a way where he can find out, how does this referee call the game, so he can just go accordingly. He can still do the early slide tackles because he usually knows how to time it pretty well. But I think it's something he just has to look at a little bit closer to make sure he doesn't hurt the team instead of helping the team. Because him being off the field, him being us being down 10 men is just, that's not going to work, especially early in the game. That's just, you can pretty much call the game early because we're already sucked defensively. So now we're down a man, and then, So that's the only way I'm saying. But other than, Romero is our best defender by far, but you know what I mean.
Quick question. Quick question in the West. Like, could Fraser Forster have done better on the goal that we conceded against AC Milan?
Hell yeah, we could have did a lot better than that. That was one of those, like,
could he have saved maybe the initial save? Like, could he have done better on the initial save?
He could have did better on that. To me, I think our goalkeeper is a little slow. I wish we kept like a Gazaniga. This is when it goes back to I wish we kept like one of those guys, the last couple goalkeepers we had that wanted to be the first guy after Lloris. I wish we kept him because now we went into a situation where we don't really have that upcoming goalkeeper. I don't think Austin is going to be that guy. He's struggling even being the second guy. So, it's just, now we got to go buy a goalkeeper or hope we can get one on the free or something stupid, which I'm sure is what we're going to probably try to do is probably get one on the free. But, I just, it's one of those finicky, Spursy, I hate using that word, but it is one of those Spursy type of goals where, they just had a second opportunity and boom, it went in on some crazy stuff. So, and of course it happened like the 8th minute. So then that changes the whole dynamics yet again, where we have to be chasing and we're just not good offensively, really. And just Son and everybody's kind of feels like some of these guys never play with each other. The way they pass the ball, our passing is interesting to say the least for them to be professional footballers. But Papi Matisar, that's my guy. He was the only bright point in the whole game was Papi Matisar. It's clear that he could play. It's clear that, he's ready to flourish. It just according to the manager to play him more. Even Skip played good too. I think a lot of people left out Skip because everybody's drooling over Papi Matisar. But Skip actually played a solid game as well. So it's good that we have at least 2 backup midfielders that can do the job. And I feel like they can do it. We know if you saw Skip last year before he had the injury, he was pretty much the first choice before he got injured. So it's good that he's kind of trying to get back to that consistency. But and hopefully he'll be doing more stuff offensively as well instead of the solid defensive work that he usually does. But other than that, they both look very good. Whenever they get the ball, they look like they want to go forward. They never look like they're being reserved, like I've seen kind of Højbjerg do at some points of time, and even Basuma kind of do because he's nervous not getting more playing time. and things of that nature. And now he's hurt, so now we're not going to see him for a while. But it's good that we got backup midfielders like that. They are young, they're growing. Both of them are like, I think 23 and under. So that's a good thing.
Hungry is the most important thing there.
Yeah, hungry. Yeah.
It's not like they're going out there and, they're suffering because the rest of the team is suffering. They're going out there hungry, which is important. I just want to come in on Jack's goalkeeper point quickly. Again, it's another thing, You can't look at both goalkeepers with over 60 years experience, 70 years experience between them in the game and say they're both the problem as well. At some stage, you just got to look at the protection in front of them. If they're facing as many shots as they do, the law of averages, some of them are going to hit the back of the net. So to sit there and, go, Fraser Forrester should have got to that. It's kind of like, well, I mean, he's got to another 35 before that. I mean, on the law of averages.
I feel like the Leicester ones too, like even if he went down slow in the Leicester ones, like let's be honest, like the James Madison one, like it's a straight up sitter. Like it's laid on a plate. Like if he saves that, people would be like, geez, someone got him on the crack today. And then I would say the same thing with some of the other saves. Like if he had saved some of the other ones, I would have been like, holy shit, like that's a ridiculous save, because those were like open, free shots. Like
that's the problem.
Not even one-on-one with the keeper, but almost close. Like kind of.
I mean, that is how badly they're exposed. Yeah, you can sit there and really analyze it and go, oh, could he got down there?
They're not usually shots going through a bunch of bodies or anything like that.
But like we can sit there and go, oh, could he have got down there a millisecond quicker? I mean, it's like, okay, great, but why aren't we talking about how many shots he's had to face? How exposed he is?
I mean, that Dyer 101, y'all remember that? I think it was Leicester game. That Dyer 101, that was freaking like I wasn't able to react to that game. I wasn't able to get on, but that right there tells me everything I need to know about Dyer. I don't want to see him. I'd rather have Sanchez in the middle than him, because at least Sanchez he would have at least, I think, got up on him. I think. But he didn't even try to get on. It's kind of like he just backed up and gave him more space. Why would you? I played center back throughout my youth years. Just like you never like the coach tells you that way back when you like first starting off. You don't give the player more space for them to shoot to round up a shot.
You don't jockey with them for like 20 yards. You don't jockey with them for that long.
You get on them to a point where they're breathing on your neck, kind of thing. You don't let them get space like that. You just don't.
Here's the thing: you can understand dropping to a certain point to allow players to get back and help you if you don't want to. If you're not confident in your ability to make that challenge, you think he's going to knock up by you and expose you with pace. But to drop as far back as he does, at some stage you got to say, okay, right, I'm just going to take the fucker out. But then also,
Dave, when you try to still show him in on his right, wouldn't you not let him in on his left even? Like when you try
you think he'd already know what his weaker foot is, Jack, and that should compute to him in the game, show him onto his weaker foot. But then that third goal, he's already 50 yards back. So to stay jockeying, when you're the problem, you just got to come and take him out sometimes. This is the problem, Like we show Iheanacho onto his good foot. We jockey him right up until the box to put him into the shooting positions in the first place. When, drop back a little, but after 5-10 years of jockeying back, you just got to go, right, I'm taking the fucker out. I'll take a yellow. He doesn't want to do it. People get on sometimes for taking yellow cards. But at least he fucking does it. Well, these other guys don't. They're like, I don't want to take a yellow. It'll make my stats look bad. So I'll just jockey. I've seen him do it to the 6-yard box.
He does it so many times. He does that little spin.
Engaging,
Yeah. He does that little turnaround where every time when he gets into one-on-one situation, he does like a little turnaround thing that he loves to do, which usually it puts the advantage to the ball handler. So I don't understand his defending. Whoever taught him how to defend was a fucking idiot. That's just what it is. Like, was a fucking idiot. Whoever taught him, whatever he's been doing, whatever he's been taught and learned throughout these years, he should have got taught by somebody else, and whoever that is, hopefully, it's not a manager of a club right now. Because that defending makes no sense. Like anytime, like I got in a situation like that when it's 1-on-1, sometimes I act like I'm about to tackle. I act like I'm about to go full speed into him, and now it actually scare the hell out of the ball handler who's going forward with the ball. That makes them either trip up, that mess up their touch. It'd be something like, then boom, that's when you go for the tackle. You got to do something at them. You got to like make them do something. You got to make them react. And oh wait, he's about to, and that would scare the hell out of somebody. But he doesn't even try to do that. He just backs up, gives them more space, and you know he's a left-footed player, and boom, he got a shot off. And of course, it goes into the goal. Like you left the wide open shot in the box. There's nobody else around you. So that Dyer is, we should have got, like, I know a lot of people are going to say, and of course a lot of people are saying we need to get it. We should have got defenders this past window. But I'm like, you know, we could have, the only ones we probably would have went after, probably some backups maybe, but those backups from some of these clubs maybe are probably better than Dyer. So that probably would have been good options, you know, to be honest with you. But I think the real ones that we want, we're not going to get to the summer. I do agree with that. If the club ever came out with a statement saying, well, why we didn't get defenders, you know, the rumors are that most of the ones we want are, you know, not going to be available to the summer, which I do believe in that because I just don't see teams letting them go just yet, especially for the heightened prices they would be at if it was January. But, you know, we need some defenders, bro. Like this is, that's not it. That's not it.
It'll be a long fucking road until the rest of the end of the season.
And then we got to find a way to get rid of them.
Tried warning everyone about the back line. I tried. At least that's one thing I can never be accused of. That I've tried warning everyone.
Yeah, you've been on that for a while.
Yeah, a long time.
You have a score prediction, Wes, for West Ham? How's that game gonna go?
Oh yeah, they be say. I agree with Ellie on when it comes to West Ham. I don't understand what West Ham. I don't know what they fans think. Like they fans really think like they are on the same level as Tottenham. Like, and that's saying something when you're not even on the same level as us, and we haven't won anything in a while. So like West Ham, they're very funny. That's a funny club. That's a very funny club. That's and then they got the same colors. They're kind of copying off of Aston Villa, which I think they did. I think historically somebody just back in the day took their colors from Aston Villa. So they don't have no. To me, they don't have no identity. To me, they're like, we're just hopefully we beat the snot out of them in some form. I'm sure that's usually what happens. We have a West Ham game and somehow we beat the snot out of the team. We look like
confident, no matter the form.
Yeah, of course I'm going confident with West Ham. It's West Ham. I don't like them. Their fans are interesting. I don't understand why they think they're better than us.
His chest out, Dave. Here, he's got his chest out. His head is high. He's feeling confident.
Our team in trouble though. Like I don't know, Stellini, but this is Stellini now who's taking over. So maybe Stellini would do something different. I don't know, because it seems like he gets the team in order. But when Conte came back, it seemed like he went right back to, I don't know. I don't know what kind of football Conte plays. I don't know what kind of football we are playing, to be honest with you, because it looks like hopefully Pedro gets to play. We didn't get to see him at all the second game. Which is very interesting. Yeah, like you got to. I understand he had a woozy of a first game, but that's not really what can he do. We were completely, tail between our legs pretty much by a certain point. There's not much he could do. He's still trying to understand how Tottenham plays this back three instead of how he played the back three back at Sporting. It was a little different because you saw he was more higher up the pitch than what he really needed to be, and that's he used to doing that when he was with Sporting. Because they played the back three a little differently, and plus that was more of in their league they're more of the dominant force there, so they have more time on the ball. Yeah, for us, he has to understand that he's on a kind of different team. This is Premier League level. Every club is a little bit better than the league you played in before. So I think he has to understand the angles of when he needs to be up there, when he doesn't have to be up there. And he needs to call for the ball. He needs to definitely call for the ball. The player, because there was points of time where the players weren't passing the ball. But with West Ham, I hope he starts. I don't think we're gonna need Royale for this type of game. I go for I'm gonna go simple. I'm gonna go like 2-1 or something like that.
Love that.
I could see that.
Love that. Well, look, do you know what? I just want to say quickly before you go, don't blame you for getting up and being confident. At the end of the day, football's about dreaming. Football, anything can happen. You can turn it around very, very quickly. A week is a long time in football. And at the end of the day, if you can't dream, what have you got? And when it comes to rivals, you've got to front up. I'm not going to sit there and go, we're on bad form, you're this. No, never going to do it. It's rival weekend. I'm going to absolutely tear them to shreds. Tin pot crime merchants is what they are. Absolutely love it. So, Wes, keep getting everybody up. Don't let anybody tell you any different not to be excited for the game, my man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're still in it. We're still in the FA Cup. We're only down a goal against Milan. We're still in. We still got chances. Really, my whole goal is FA Cup. I don't really care about top four because I think that's kind of that's iffy at this point too. But FA Cup is what I'm worried about. Like when we get to the FA Cup games, that's the ones I'm gonna want us to win deep hearted.
Yeah, I
because I
remember
want a
you telling me
trophy.
that before. I
Yeah.
remember you telling me that before. I'm putting in your YouTube and everything up. But Wes, really great call, my friend, and
Yeah.
I do appreciate you coming on. And hopefully we get you back soon. And best of luck with your studies as well, my man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Spanish is interesting.
It's not easy for many, but I hope it goes better. I hope it goes fácil. But yeah, I'll be seeing you soon, my friend. Hopefully,
All right.
I'll catch you maybe I think we're doing a post-match fan show this weekend, so I'd love to catch you for that. And then if someone drops out of the show this weekend for the watch along, I'll keep in touch with you. Pick up.
Okay. Bet.
Catch you soon.
All right. Talk to you guys.
Bye. Come on, you Spurs. Oh, I cut it off. Oh, shit. I cut him off. But we are going to get on to the next guest of the evening. Big yourself up, Wes, and please, everybody, follow those links and show that man some support. Great call from him. And I think it's Daniel. It's Daddy Hoiberg time. Yep, he's looking ready. There he is. How are we, Daddy?
Great. I'm great. I mean, big up to you guys. I mean, gee, you're still going strong. I mean, it's so nice. It's so awesome to see.
You and Tyler. I would say anybody that wants to come in after Tyler, big apology for myself and Dave. I think we might cut it off after that. It has been a lot of guests today, but Daniel, we'll go, go 5 hours if need be. We went 5 hours last time, so we'll do it if need be, my friend.
Great.
I mean, what do you want to get stuck into today? I'm not sure if you've been listening along or anything like that.
No, not really. I've just been in the background, just been playing games. So, but
the big conversation is dropping. Sonny, Conte, of course, is gone. Stellini is going to be leading this one. West Ham derby, the bubble blower derby. I know Dave doesn't like that lot down the road. So, what do you want to start with?
We can start with Sonny. I mean, Sonny, he needs to be dropped. He needs to be dropped now. I mean, I said it for a long time. I mean, I would like to see Danjuma play because Richie does not suit the system at all, in my opinion. He just does not suit.
He needs to play. You just don't like him as a winger, really? Yeah.
No, he has to play striker at least. So I would like to see Danjuma get a chance.
Do you feel like Richie looked okay though when he came on in the most recent game against AC Milan? I thought he looked okay when he came on, Richie.
No, really.
Yeah, that nice little setup for somebody. I don't know. It looked like he was causing some havoc. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little crazy.
Completely forgotten. But
no, I don't. I'm also grasping at straws here. Yeah. I'll be honest. I really am. So don't worry, Daniel. You don't need to. But you want to go with Danjuma. Why is that? Is it just because he can do what Conte is asking maybe better? Is that what you're thinking, or what?
I mean, something new, something raw, exciting. He looked good when his debut. Something fresh we need in the team, I think, as well. So, and also like the pace and some skill as well. Can take on a man. Sonny can't take on a man, and like this season, he cannot beat a man for some reason. It's very disappointing to see.
Yeah, it is disappointing. Do you feel like though, maybe right now, it feels like the defense has been letting us down, Daniel? But what do you make of the attack? What do you make of the attack? It's been a bit dead, recently.
Yeah, I mean, against AC Milan.
Is that why maybe you go for Danjuma, just like fresh eyes, fresh kind of, player, fresh blood in there, maybe just to switch things up? Because it feels like the attack is also kind of dead right now.
Yeah, against AC Milan, I mean, how we didn't press that back line or test the goalkeeper. That goalkeeper is fucking shit, and we didn't test him. He's so bad, and we didn't have one decent shot. That's why I'm so disappointed after that game, because we just shot some long shots or even pressed back line, I think we could have gotten easy a 2-1 win. But I think it's still completely open, so it's not too bad. So that's most disappointing from that.
Mm-hmm. What do you make of Skippy though and Papa Matasar from that match? Especially Papa Matasar, I feel like he could be a good partner for Hoiberg. I feel like for the rest of the season. What do you think?
100%. I mean, big up, 19-year-old kid, man of the match in his first Champions League debut. That's just wow. There's not many can do that. But I'm almost a little bit disappointed because how can the other senior players allow that to happen.
Yep.
How can they allow that? Yeah, like Kane and Son, Kulusevski, and others. Like, how can Skip and Sar and Emerson be the best players on the pitch that night?
It's a good caveat I think you make there, Daniel, because it feels like maybe when we were doing that pre-match build-up, it was all kind of about how the senior players are supposed to help out Sar. They were supposed to help out Skip, right? They're supposed to give them the confidence, ease them into the game, right? Help them sort of kind of, ease into it. Almost felt like Sar and Skip were showing everybody else how it's done, on the day. That's what's disappointing, right?
100%. I mean, nobody I didn't expect it. So yeah, but it's great for them, of course. I'm not taking anything away from them. So all power to them.
Skippy, though, like, I feel like he's had a mixed sort of reputation, or I don't know, like mixed kind of feelings with the fan base, because of course he was great, right, when he came back, from Norwich, but then after the injury, it's just, some people kind of given up on Skippy already. Some people just think he's not going to ever really be good enough. Do you feel like he silenced some haters, or am I getting a little too far? Am I going a little too far?
Well, it's a little bit too early. One game. I mean, it's against Champions League, so that's great, but one game is not enough. But I was one of them, of course. I said, like, that injury seems to completely kill them, so it's great to see. But I know it seems to be a little bit of a pattern here at this club with big injuries after players come back from big injuries, struggling. Kulusevski come back from big injury, struggling heavily.
Felt like we had 24 hours, if I recall, of a fit squad. Maybe about 24 hours, and then everybody started dropping like flies, including Antonio. As well. Yeah. Like, it's what do you think? There's something deeper, maybe at miss here, something deeper awry, like with the medical department. Like, is it Conte's training methods? Maybe. Or could it be even the people who do like the weightlifting, the guys, the trainers that do all that sort of stuff, like they kind of probably bear some responsibility because they, put them through the motions and they push them, right? It's also on the medical department, I think, because the medical department keeps track of a lot of this stuff and they're supposed to anticipate sometimes when this might happen. So I don't think there needs to be maybe full blame on one thing or another, but do you think there's something deeper, maybe awry with the injuries this season? Like, there could be a reason.
Well,
I think not just unluckiness, maybe, is what I'm saying. Not just unluckiness.
No, it's not unlucky. It's something when injuries come in thick and fast. There's a big issue behind the scenes. But this has always been with the medical department here. They've never been good enough. I mean, even with Poch, even with Jose, it was always injuries, always. So I mean, I don't know what we can do with that, but I would just get rid of them, get someone else. To be honest,
it is. I think we're talking about. I think it is like maybe something deeper, right? So I liked your answer there on that one. Yeah. I think there's also a conversation to be had, actually, because a lot of people spoke about Sonny at length today, Daniel. But I kind of want to talk about Perisic, actually. Do you feel like Perisic? Because I made this argument before, right, where we used to kind of say Perisic, he makes up for being a defensive liability by being good going forward. It's kind of the risk worth taking because he's so good going forward. Do you think that's still true? I don't know if that's still true. Like,
I think,
if you know what I'm saying.
I think
he doesn't make up for it going forward anymore, I think.
No, I think the milk is gone stale, sadly. Yeah. I think his expiration date has happened, sadly. I didn't think that was the case before the season, but he's been awful. He's been so bad. Or maybe the left wing back role, at least, is not where he should be playing anymore. I mean, he had some good seasons there, but he can't defend, and it just seems to be he struggles so much now. And that's not good at all, because Sessegnon is even worse. So, I mean, what do we do?
Yeah,
we have no one to say there.
I kind of was talking about that earlier with the Sonny, versus Perisic debate. Or no, like, which partner is better for Sonny? Like, which wing back is better for Sonny? It's like, if we had Sessegnon from last season, I'd probably absolutely take Sessegnon back. the issue is that we're like that Sessegnon is like a completely different person like to the Sessegnon we've seen this season. The Sessegnon we've seen this season is like struggled. Let's be honest, everybody. He struggled against League One like opposition, like and when he's playing for a Premier League team and he has Premier League players around him and Premier League players he's playing with, he has looked like a League One player in, playing in a Premier League team basically. So I don't know, like Sessegnon, it's just a bad situation to be in where it's like Perisic hasn't been all that great, but Sessegnon is somehow so bad that like it's, I don't know, like
you wouldn't go near him. So like
it's hard to say like whether he would somehow look better, like because it's amazing how bad he's looked. That's what I would. It's amazing how bad he's looked. Like,
he's
like even people who hate Emerson are like, yeah, no, he's somehow become worse than Emerson.
That's
the people are, So 100%. You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
100%.
Well, I mean, Udogie, we need desperately. Do you actually? I feel like we need another left wing back on top of that.
Yeah, we need a new one. Yeah. Because Perisic we can't go on further on. I mean, I think this was only one season anyway in the contract. I don't know, maybe 2. Can't remember, but no, like I said, we can't go with him. And Sessegnon needs to. We need to just release him as well, because how we're going to sell him. We can't. I mean, we're so good at releasing players. So
I feel like actually Sessegnon, we've been. I don't want to dig too much into the guy, but like, let's just look at facts here. He's been around here a long time. Like it's been a big flop of a transfer. Like we paid a
30
million
million
for him. We paid more for Sessegnon than we did for Emerson.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So there's the context.
That's the English quota there. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So there's the context.
No, but
and Emerson's already put in more good performances, I think, in his time than Sessegnon ever has.
Yeah, I mean, he's just looking fantastic now. And also, I would just actually call back Udogie right now. I don't know if you could do that, but
I don't think you can, because probably Udinese like him very much, and they probably want to hold on to him tightly and dearly, for until we get him back. But I think Daniel, so just to get a confirmation here, because I've spoke to Dave about this, like. I think it's maybe like a hidden problem that we might not know. Like we do probably need another left wing back because Perisic has underwhelmed. Sessegnon just needs to go. And then you kind of might need another one then, this summer. I'm with you. All right. He agrees with me, Dave. He agrees with me. Good to
Love it. Sorry about that, Daniel. Everyone seems to want a piece of me today when I'm in the middle of streaming. 2 phone calls.
Whoa.
Landlord knocking at the
that
door.
Day?
Oh man, it's
second Valentine's.
It's
well, you shouldn't apologize for that. That just
nah, look, because it looks like I'm being rude. I'm just explaining. It's just 2 phone calls. Landlord knocking at the door. Not a miss is sick. Nothing I can do, my man.
That's a major lightning too going on in the background. Major lightning and thunder. It looks like.
Lovely.
Oh, that already. New York weather.
So
well, Daniel, sorry, we got a little off track there. Maybe just maybe one more question from myself, and then I know Dave probably has another question for you. What do you feel like for right wing back though tomorrow? Is it Emerson or Porro? I feel like we were giving Emerson some praise. I'm gonna go Pedro Porro.
Since he's at home, I would go more attacking, so I will go Pedro Porro, and he needs to have a good game. Hopefully, in front of the home fans, he would have. Great game, because that debut, Jesus Christ, one of the worst debuts I've seen. Oh my God, it was so bad. But he's still I know he's gonna come good. Hopefully, if he doesn't come good, I'm gonna just quit football. I think because
there's no way you can have that much technical ability, right, and not come good, though, Daniel.
No. But the Spurs, so you never know. God.
That was a hilarious comment by Rob Ragnarsson. Actually, I think Sessegnon very much looks like a guy who looks like, he walks off the plane. You're like, damn, that guy looks really good. Like off the plane turns out to actually be shit.
Yeah.
That's actually true. Sorry.
Life of being a Spurs fan, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
If
also, that comment there, Reggie, do you think he's going to come back, or do you think that's over?
Do you know what, on that, Daniel? Me and Jack made the case at the time that
we like Reggie, but yeah.
I like him. I think I said always he was better than, of course, Session.
Me and Jack made the case at the time, you know, that we like what it doesn't make sense to loan out Regulon, Session, shit. But the reality is, no one in the club is going to come out and say this, but the reality is, Regulon was sent out on loan and Session was kept because they needed Session to meet the English homegrown quota. That's the only reason why he's at this club. Make no mistake about it. And this is a problem, you know, because people were getting annoyed with Regulon saying, oh, but when he's in the box, he can't finish. I'm like, okay, granted, but at least he's getting in there. Regulon,
he has a good cross, too.
Session can't even cross the ball either. You know, and it's like, this is what I keep saying to people. We've got to start looking at some English players as well, or producing some through the academy, so we can start registering them, so we can stop persisting with the current crop of shit that we have. We've got some of the worst English players in the game right now, and they have to be shipped on so we can get in better. That's what City do, right? You know, City go out and buy an English talent every couple of years, one of the best out there, so that when they do have to play these guys, or when injuries and suspensions happen, these guys come in, they've got some of the best English players around. We've got some of the worst, and it doesn't look like anybody wants them either, and it's a huge problem. But that's the only reason why Session was kept over Regulon. Regulon's a better player. You don't play for a better player.
No. He also struggles with injuries, of course, sadly. He's not been playing this season for Atletico, so because of injuries. So that's sad. But
yeah, I just feel like Region, what I liked about him was he put in a good ball. Like he felt like he picked out people, and he could hit it in with like some real whip. I remember too, like sometimes Regular, he can hit it.
He also like sprint. He has sprinted forward. Like I remember one time to cross his race.
He's pacey. Yeah, he's pacey. He's quick. He's quick too. So He's much quicker than Session. Much quicker than Session.
I mean, I remember that Kane Reggie relationship was amazing.
Yeah, I just had no. I mean, you could improve on Reggie. I totally understood the argument that you could improve on Reggie, but he was not the problem. Like he really wasn't. And I also felt like there was at some stages too, like I don't know, people are a little harsh on Reggie. I didn't really get why. I feel like he gave his. He also though, like he worked hard. Like I thought he worked hard. He had a bit of shousery too. He was a little shouse, you know, as well. I liked Reggie.
10 out of 10 girlfriend as well. Oh my god,
he's good. True that. True that. He's good at video games, I think, as well. I think he's.
She was at the James Bond premiere. I remember that.
He's got multiple talents. Reggie does. He's got multiple talents.
The score off the pitch.
Big yourself up, brother. Again, you know, glad I could see you before we let you go. That's the main thing, my man. But hopefully we're speaking to you Monday with a 3 points in our back pocket, huh?
Yeah, definitely. West Ham, I need to see us use the hammers on them, to be honest. So yeah. You know, but also like if you guys need like I don't know, a West Ham game like during halftime, full time, if you want me to come on just to have a little say on, you can message me on WhatsApp or something, like because I'm available.
I have you on WhatsApp now, Daniel. All right, we'll do, my friend. We'll do, my friend. Good man.
And also, I just want to end it off on Arsenal are bottling it, and I'm here for
let's hope so.
No, they are.
Did you see my tweet?
He's like they are. He's like they are.
Did you see my tweet? The Arsenal fans were throwing bottles at De Bruyne. Straight away, I copped it. I was like, you know, the irony of Arsenal fans throwing bottles while they're bottling the league. I mean, you couldn't write it. You know, there's a guy out there called Egal. Good guy. Like the guy. I think he's funny. I banter him a lot. He banters me back. But he went to send out a tweet 2 weeks ago, very, very early, of clips he made for me talking about Arsenal. He pulled it. And I knew then, I was like, I've got them. I'm in their psyche, right? And now look at them, they're bottom of the league. So, in fact, he should be thanking me. If you watch it, thank me. I saved your blushes from being embarrassed by that. But, Daniel, I'm loving. Honestly, some people said to me, you know, whoa, how can you take the piss out of them as a Spurs fan? We're doing shit. And it's like, yeah, I acknowledge that. But at the same time, because we're doing shit, I need to take every little sort of satisfaction I can get. And if that means
I agree. Completely agree.
Big up, Daniel, my man.
Big up, you guys.
Good call.
Congratulations on congratulations on 9K, and hopefully you can hit 10K soon as well.
That'd be nice. So, that'd be a dream. Yeah, that'd be a dream. We'll wait and see.
Love you, Daniel.
Yes, love you guys, and speak to you soon. Take care.
Good man. Bye bye. Really like Daniel.
That was
really
a good
like
call,
that.
actually, especially towards the end. You know, I know he's been waiting very, very patiently too, Daniel. So thank you for your patience. I forgot to say that too as well. He's been waiting very patiently. So big yourself up, my man. Great call. Good call. Tyler, I think Tyler's the last one here.
Yeah, last guest of the evening is Tyler. Tyler, if you're there, just take yourself off mute.
There he is.
Here he is.
Good
Let's
man.
get him on. Tyler, how are you keeping, my man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, as good as could be. Pumped up for the game at the weekend. You know, it's the Irish Hotspur Derby. It's personal. So I can't wait to beat them and get 3 points.
Yep. I'd like to start with the Milan performance.
Okay.
I just want to say 19 years old, his first Champions League start, goes to the San Siro. I know they were missing one of their starters in midfield, but he absolutely dominated the midfield.
He came up against Tonali.
Yeah, it was against, he did have to play Tonali. I don't know who that other midfielder was though. He was pretty shocking, but no, I mean,
because Pape made him Moussa Dembele. I know you want to say it. Just say it. Boop him up. Papa Moussa Dembele. I know you want to say it.
Go on,
I don't really. I don't want to compare him with anyone. I think he's Pape Matar Sarr. He's gonna.
Good answer.
I don't like no Patrick Vieira comparisons. Come on.
Yeah, no, that's no need to compare him to a goon.
What did you like about him, Tyler? What do you when you looked at the game and you seen what it was about? What did you like about the kid?
I mean, he was composed on the ball. His passing was excellent. He would take a few touches, spray it out wide like Kane would do. I mean, he would get back. He stopped a couple counterattacks. I mean, his balance even. I don't think he's a skinny guy. I know he's big, but he is kind of skinny. He doesn't fall to the ground much. I feel like I didn't see him on the ground once.
Yeah.
Do you know what I like most about him was his maturity? Do you know, like when you're growing up and you're in your mates and you're like 14, 15, but one of the guys looks like he's 21 and he's getting served alcohol in the offie, you know, at 15 years of age. That's what Papa Matar reminds me of. You know, just maturity. Absolutely.
Maturity with the way he plays, though. Like, right? Yeah. He plays like someone who's not 19. Another thing, too, I noticed, Tyler, was there was certain moments where he like picked out like a first time pass or like just, you know, made it more efficient for us, where like sometimes it would take like 1-2 passes to get there. He would just make it easy for us, just ping it over, make it nice and easy. You know, that's what I liked about him as well, was that he had that sense of urgency, but he also seemed to have a really good picture of what was, you know, around him. It felt like he didn't have to like pick his head up and look. He already knew who to play to. It felt like a lot of times.
And he didn't. It wasn't like he was turning around, passing it back, just giving it to Dyer, and Dyer giving it back to the goalie. He was going forward. He was trying to create. He was one of the only ones trying to do anything. I felt like how can our 19-year-old in his first start be the best player on the pitch and look like one of the only ones really trying? It doesn't make sense to me.
That was my biggest question coming out of the game, Tyler. You know, that's why I felt very deflated in the end, because it's like a 19-year-old kid who's had the least minutes out of everybody is the only one that comes off with actually any reputation. Yeah,
and I do want to say, I did give Skip a lot of crap. I mean, he wasn't great, but I mean, for just coming in the Champions League again, it was a solid performance.
Do you feel like he silenced some haters, or am I getting a little too ahead of myself as per usual, Tyler?
Yeah, no, I don't think he silenced haters yet. I mean,
yeah,
he still doesn't have. He's not the most creative player. I think he has a lot more. He does have good energy and he hustles a lot, but I still see him as, I like to say, a glorified Harry Winks, with a little bit better defending, a little more energy, but I don't know.
I feel like he's one of those guys, though, Tyler. He's like that one of those guys who puts on a hard hat, you know, before the game, right? He's going to do all the dirty work. He's going to get, you know, the jackhammer out, you know, lay the concrete down. He's that kind of guy. I feel like, you know, he's just going to do all the hard work that maybe a lot of people don't really want to do. He's that type of player. And maybe that's not the sexiest. Maybe that doesn't mean you're going to be one of the best midfielders in the world or anything, but there's always a place for those kind of guys.
Yeah.
But Papa Moussa Dembele, I think, is the one with the real ceiling. And so he's the one with the real talent. Is he capable of filling any of Bentancur's shoes? Can he fill one of the two shoes? Like, you know, can he fill the shoes basically in some shape or form?
I mean, I definitely want to see him more in the Premier League. I know he started the Arsenal game, right? So it's and he was solid. Like, he was solid. It's not like he got dominated. He was a solid player, but definitely want to see him more in the Premier League. But I think by the end of the season, honestly, I think he could surpass Højbjerg. I really do, and I really like Højbjerg.
I think he has a much higher ceiling than honestly any midfielder at this club. Higher ceiling than Bentancur probably.
Yeah.
Bentancur is, at this stage, isn't he 25? Already. I mean, not already. I mean, he's still got plenty of years, but you know what I mean. And same thing with Basuma. Like, he's got the highest ceiling there is, I think, of any player. Really, maybe of most of the players at the club. Even like he is a bit of a gem. That's waiting to be cracked, waiting to be open.
Yeah, but I think Bentancur has been our probably best player this season. So either him or Kane. So him going out is still absolutely massive. Like, I mean, I still don't know how we're gonna get top 4. I still want to keep hope, and I don't know. It's definitely gonna be hard. Sarr's gonna have to be perfect.
But look, these are the opportunities that kids dream of. Like Papa Sarr's in a dream case scenario where it's kind of like he's got at least with Basuma's injury, he's got at least a month's worth of games, to be able to flourish. And by the end of this month, we could be sitting there talking about him potentially being the best midfielder at the club if he keeps playing the way he's playing. But on Bentancur, I would put an air of caution out there with the length of time he's going to be out for, which is 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
He might not come back to them same levels. It might take a whole year to sort of get back to the levels he was at as well. So there could be an even longer opportunity there for Papa Sarr. But I would say to everybody, I wouldn't expect Bentancur to come back and straight away be that same guy. It's not going to happen. Not after an injury like that. It's going to take him 3 or 4 or 5, if not 6, frustrating performances with Bentancur before you see him get anywhere near the level he was at before he went out injured.
Yeah, I mean, even minor injuries. Look at Kulu. He still isn't fully back yet. I mean, it takes a while.
Sean said in the watch along, and then someone else, I forgot, it might have been Rufus, who said it earlier, that he's kind of like holding himself back a little bit, like maybe not pushing himself 100%, with some of the sprints that he makes and things like that. Do you agree? Maybe he's holding himself back a tiny bit.
Yeah, I definitely think he is. I mean, he doesn't have his confidence right now either. I mean, I think he'll get it back. It's not like Sonny right now where he's just the rest of the season could be poor. We don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely think he'll be fine. Give him a couple more games, but I don't know. The thing is, I think Kulu and Son could be dropped, but I feel like you can't drop Kulu because you've given Son this many opportunities. So I think I'm with Daniel. I'd like to see Danjuma on the left.
Yeah, I would say that I wouldn't be surprised if it is Kulu because he done it to Kulu last season for that Leicester game. When he started on the bench and came off and then absolutely ran right against them. He sort of does that with Kulu. I think he done it once this season as well, if I'm correct. He sort of does that with Kulu where it's like gives him a little kick up the ass every now and again. So it's kind of like a reminder because of the age he's at. It's like, don't think you've made it or made any impression in the world of football yet. You've got a long way to go and you've got to keep up the consistency. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was going to be Kulu this weekend either, if you want me to be pretty honest.
What are your impressions of the defense recently, Tyler? I mean, you went from Leicester to. I know I didn't want to ruin your weekend, but I decided to, Tyler. I know you have a good rest of your Friday, but decide I ruin it for you. I mean, Leicester, Milan. Milan was a strange one because it felt like yet again, we conceded from a mistake, but sort of got away with it for the rest of the game. I don't know. What's your impressions of the defense recently, and what would you go for against West Ham?
Yeah, I mean, against Milan, I mean, other than the counterattacks, I mean, we didn't really have to deal with too much. But, I mean, Romero was getting absolutely done in by Hernandez and Leao. But so I want to go to the goal. Obviously, that's on Romero for losing the header and losing his feet too, falling on the ground. But Forster, I know he probably was never expecting Romero to lose that right there, but he's got to be ready to come out. And also, Dyer on the help, he got over to help actually fairly quickly, and then he stands 5 feet away from Hernandez and lets him for free cross it in. Like I just don't understand. Like attack, like go block it. like he's scared of maybe drawing a penalty or what, but he's scared of getting hit by the ball. I don't know. Like, go.
But here's what it is. Here's what it is, Tyler. It comes back to what a lot of us have said for some time. They're all reactionary, and Romero's the only one that's proactive. So Romero actually wants to defend. The others don't want to defend, but they will react when called upon. And that's why Fraser Forrester didn't come off his line when he could have came out off his line. That's why Dyer will only go so far across. If Dyer read the game and had the foresight to see the potential trouble arising, he would have got across there and he would have made that decision earlier, which meant he would have got closer to the guy. And this is the big problem. Every single one of them are reactive. The only one that's proactive is Romero. You look at that. Romero's the only one that actually went to go and try and win the ball. Where was everybody else?
And Forster, when he blocked the shot, that second save was incredible. But everyone is just standing there watching him. Go get the ball out of our box. Why are you guys watching this guy get 3 different shots off and then them score? And then everyone just watches it go in the back and they're like, oh, too bad.
You made a good point, though, actually. Remember that. Forster, I feel like the saves he make, it's hard to criticize him on the saves, but I feel like where he could have done better is, I do remember you brought this up, that he actually, if he was a bit more proactive, like he could have actually maybe came out and he could have maybe closed down, Teo Hernandez and could have made it difficult, but he actually was reluctant to do so. He sat back, felt like he then kind of paid the price for that, and then had that shot. That shot, though, took a really nasty deflection, I think. I forget what. I think it was like Dyer's foot or something it took a deflection off of. And then he, seemed to have his hands here. It went off, shoulder. And so, I don't know. It's hard to know because it felt like he could have done slightly better, maybe on the initial save. But maybe. I agree with you on the first part. If you did want to criticize him, absolutely should have rushed out because he needs to do that because then he saves himself all of the trouble later.
I'm not saying Lloris would have came out right there. I don't know.
That's kind of my whole point. Is I just don't. In any of these scenarios, it's I just don't think Lloris would do much better either.
But this is why we need a modern goalkeeper, right, though, lads? Because Lloris would have stayed on his line either way. But a modern goalkeeper is taught to be, on anticipating, ready. If that ball breaks and you think you can get there, go and get it. You know what I mean? Help the back line out a little. Whereas the keepers we've got are all of the old school of thought, the old school of way. Yeah. They're taught a different way, so they're very reluctant to come off that line.
Yeah, and
goes back to Jack's point about needing a modern goalkeeper.
Yeah, in the Leicester game, I do feel like the last 2 goals that I think Lloris maybe would have saved. I know obviously he makes a lot of mistakes and he hasn't been great this year, but he does pull off those incredible saves sometimes.
And also people were saying that Forster gets down a little slow and Lloris probably might get down a bit, quicker. I mean, he will get down quicker than Forster does. That is probably true at the end of the day. But
regardless, and it's got to be in the summer. I mean, and I'm not even talking about a backup. It has to be started. It has to be.
West Ham, do you want to talk about West Ham, Tyler, and give us a score prediction and also just tell us how the game will go, for you?
Yeah. One more thing about the Milan, though.
Yeah, go ahead. Work away.
With Dyer getting that yellow, I was like, I was excited at first. I was like, yes, he's going to miss the next game. But then when you think about it, we're screwed. Who do we have to come in? We're gonna watch Sanchez again. And we're like, oh.
That's the thing, Tyler. Honestly, I couldn't care less. He's out. Do you know what? I was about to celebrate, and then I realized I was like, it doesn't really matter. They're all clowns, whether it's Tanganga, whether it's Sanchez. It doesn't matter. We're still going to see the same shit,
Yeah.
You're not going to be saved of a clown. Yeah, you're not going to be saved from a clown.
In fact, if it is Sanchez, them long balls that AC Milan were playing, what Sanchez's biggest weakness is reading them. If he comes in, we're fucked.
Yeah. But West Ham, I do think, I'm not sure if he's gonna switch to Porro after the Leicester. I don't want him to. I mean, I've really enjoyed watching Emerson. I think the heart that he's been putting into it, I see people saying it's because Porro's there. Don't get me. There was a couple 2-3 matches before Porro got there, I mean, Emerson was putting in a shift. He had a man of the match performance in that time. So I don't want to just be like, oh, Emerson's only trying hard right now because Porro's in there. He wants to keep his spot. That's not
That's
it.
a good distinction you make there. I don't even know if I brought that up actually in the way that you did, because I agree. Like, he's had sprinkled good performances sprinkled here and there that people have ignored. And maybe now they're only starting to notice the good performances because Porro is here. But before, when Porro wasn't here, they just maybe refused to see some of those good performances.
There would also be an element though. Like, if I'm Emerson and I look around and Doherty's challenging me,
yeah,
like, honestly, it doesn't matter if I put in a good performance because I'm going to play anyway. But when Porro comes in, there is an element where it's like, right, got to fucking switch on here. You know, I've got to,
that's good.
you know, I am under threat. And there could be that. There could be that because with Doherty, as much as people complained about Emerson, Conte preferred him. He just played.
Jason Bell says as well. He had played well before any news of Porro too, just not consistently. Exactly right. And that's where I think that's exactly what it is. Big up, Jason.
I think we all know Porro is a 10 times more skilled footballer.
Exactly.
No denying that. Emerson obviously is not the most skilled player, but he's playing good right now. I know he can't really cross the ball too well at all, but he did have that one where when he got down the wing on Milan, he slipped, got back up, falling down, played that ball into Sonny in the box. I thought magic was about to happen.
It's good to just see him have these solid performances though, where he's like 7 out of 10 and he's not dropping to the levels that other players were and things like that, and he tries to make an impact on the game no matter what it feels like.
But Jack, that's what we said about Emerson when the whole Emerson Doherty debate come up. I mean, I had people telling me, you know, Doherty's better. I'm like, I mean, come and suffer 6 extra games a year at the Aviva with me and tell me that. But one thing we always said about Emerson, like, you can have your gripes about Emerson, but at least he always tries to do the right thing, rather than other players who shirk responsibility, passing it inside the whole
who aren't trying to do anything.
At least Emerson's got heart in what he's trying to do. He'll make them unselfish overlapping runs. He'll carry that ball, even if he knows it means he can only get into the final third and he might win a throw in the corner. He will still do that. He'll put in the hard yards. He's always tried to do the right thing. What we can't do is keep getting sucked into, play Doherty, he's better, and then you play him when you're watching the guy pass the ball inside 10 times within 45 minutes. You know, at least Emerson, as much as he can't cross, at least he fucking tries, you know?
Yeah. And hopefully we get our scoring back against West Ham. We go up like 3 goals and we can bring in Porro. I definitely think Porro should probably come on off the bench. He just needs to have time to get used to the league. I mean, I still think Porro is going to be solid for us. Obviously, I definitely don't think we can ever really start Perisic and Porro, at least at the moment, with the center backs we have. We just have to have at least one of our wing backs being able to defend. If you have Perisic and Porro, I mean, the other team's just going to absolutely light up the wings. So.
Maybe not. I feel like West Ham, just quickly, you know, Tyler, maybe just to counter, I feel like maybe West Ham don't offer as much of that threat, you know, as compared to other teams. Whereas Leicester City, I agree with you. Like, I feel like we got punished for exactly what you just said. Maybe West Ham, less the case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe a risk worth taking. Maybe more so of a risk worth taking.
I definitely wouldn't start him. You can't just keep doing this to Emerson after having. I mean, if he needs a rest, yeah, sure. But, I mean, Emerson's playing good. You don't take out a player that's playing that solid right now.
I'd rather play Emerson on the left or something and just see how he does. Like, to be honest, just see, you know, not even gripe on him too much if he can't put in a great ball or anything. Like, it's just, at least we know we'll be defensively solid, like you said, and he will get up and down. He will still offer that threat in behind and things like that. So you could do a job out there, or even Porro on the left if he's good enough.
Yeah, I've never seen Porro on the left.
I don't think he's ever played out there, but Perisic, I think, has been a bit of a liability at this moment in time, to be honest.
I mean, it won't be a change with him and Perisic. Yeah, Perisic is taller, but it's not like that's been helping him.
Yeah.
Spot on, Carl. Well, Tyler, any kind of final points? And I didn't get a score prediction off of you. I'm going to need that before I let you go, too. I need that score prediction.
I want to say 2-0, but I just can't see us keeping a clean sheet. So,
You and Dave are wired the same.
Yeah. We even look the same. Beard, good haircut, you know? Big up, Tyler. Brother from another mother. Your father's name isn't Brian by any chance, is it?
Floridian brother.
I think I'm going to go 3-1. 3-1. Hopefully we get the
3-1.
score back, yeah.
Yeah, I could see a 3-1. I could see a 3-1. But yeah.
Love it. I hope so. I hope so, Tyler. Great minds think alike, brother.
Yep.
Look, big yourself up. You're not on holiday today. It doesn't look like you're on any holidays.
No, not today.
Back in familiar surroundings. Love it. Love it. Right. Well, Tyler, big
see you
yourself
soon, my
up,
friend.
man.
Guys, come on, you Spurs. Let's beat the Hammers. We got this. In Conte, we trust. In Stellini, we trust. Come on.
Come on, Tyler. Great call, my friend.
Hopefully we'll be speaking to you after 3 points on Monday, brother.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
See you soon, dude.
See you soon, my man. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. There you have it. That's all the guests for today. Good calling by Tyler, actually. Really like him. Yeah. I think because he looks like my twin brother as well, just the skinnier version, I would say, a bit more skinnier than me. But look, you know, a long calling show today. People are really excited. They want to beat West Ham at the weekend, and that's what it's all about. But Jack, do you want to say before we end up?
No, everybody, thank you for sticking with us for as long as you have. Nearly 4 hours, I think, that we've gone for this one. We went, more than 5 hours the last time. So many of you that have stuck with us like you did last time, do really appreciate it. Those that were in the back end that also waited very patiently for each of us to get through, also really do appreciate that. I know it's not easy to wait that long, but I think we do try to get everybody to have a good lengthy say while still kind of keep it, moving and stuff like that. So hopefully you do understand. Looking forward to this weekend, Dave. Looking forward to, being able to watch the football tomorrow and whatnot. So many people hit the like button as well. So don't even need to tell people to demand them to do it. If they maybe forgot, do it on the way out, please. Thank you to Debatab Duda, Dark Sun G, and also those who gave to the channel today. Really do appreciate that. But yeah, Dave, it's bubble blowing or bubble popping time. What am I saying? I'm not a blower. I'm a popper.
Yeah, Jack, I've got the mask, the captain's mask or the cape, the hero's mask. I've got my toothpicks at the ready with the sharp ends. And I can't wait to beat the Barney Bubble Enthusiasts, Tin Pot Cry Merchants, if you want me to be brutally honest. So let's go. I'm absolutely pumped for it. Probably, look, it's not going to be an easy game. Not expecting it to be an exciting game either. But every game I'll get up for it. And if that's a crime, lock me up, throw away the key. Pretty much build up, of course, Sunday. Hopefully we see a lot of you there because we're going to have a lot of the hammers in there, throwing around hammers, thinking they're dangerous and all that. So we need you guys in there to run them out of here. As always, thank you for your support today. It's been brilliant. You're a what, tag? Big up. You know what? You've got some very witty people in this comment section. Every day
Big up 24.
That makes me giggle. Guys, big yourselves up. Go and enjoy what's left of your Friday. We'll see you all back here very soon. Fucking as always. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. In Conte, we trust.
Yeah, we trust, I trust, Jack trust. Doesn't mean you all have to either, but we do. Big up, everybody. See you all there tomorrow. Come on.
See you, everybody. Have a good one.
Everywhere we go.